Okay, we should be live.
Hello!
Hi, everybody! We're back with strategy games!
Fellow humans, rejoice!
So, Grant, I know you've had your eye on this game, and I already got it because I'm a sucker for Amplitude Studios, the developer of these games, as well as the endless genre. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to show everyone just how Humankind plays.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet. I've yet to touch it, so I'm excited to be guided through to see what this is all about. Because I've heard a lot of people say, like, is this the Civ killer we've been looking for? Is this gonna replace that for people who love it? And I gotta say, I want to see what it's all about if that's what they're talking about.
Yes, Amplitude definitely had a very interesting kind of blend between the style they already set up in like Endless Legend, their other kind of ground-based 4X game, and Civilization, and it's a very interesting blend. I think before we even start a game, let me show you one of the things that kind of makes this stick out is, of course, in Civilization, you're always kind of picking the archetypical leader of your civilization. It'd be Gandhi, Cleopatra, Teddy Roosevelt for some reason. Well, in here, you actually make your avatar for your civilization.
Okay.
So this is your timeless leader from the Neolithic age all the way to the modern era. And they give you a few presets to go through, like you have... Ooh, that's a nice suit. But of course, I ended up making kind of my own default that I think I just lost in clicking all these presets. Whoopsie.
Nice.
But yeah, you can go through all the thing about their gender, their face, even though, like, you look at all of these by themselves, like, you cannot tell. It's only when I mouse through it that you begin to see, like, oh yeah, no, that's definitely a person. So yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely a nice way to distinguish things a bit. I'm gonna be a bit lazy here. I'm gonna go with let's see. I want to go with you because you look really smug.
Nah, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
If we're gonna be playing the villains again, which I feel like is what we like doing in these, this guy already, I hate him.
Yeah, no, it gets even better when you start because actually their outfits change depending on what era you're in.
Ooh, okay.
And then one thing I will point out, you know what, save and close. You can actually have your avatar be an AI opponent, and you can kind of set how their AI will act.
Okay.
Even giving
so
them
I can like basically make my own custom enemies and be like, okay, I want to do just like this. I want this. Like I can. Okay, that's cool, because now I'm thinking like the weird, like me being my nerdy self, what kind of like dumb lore would I make for my own universe? I'm just like, all right, I want a rival dude. What would I make him? Like,
yeah,
what would my rival nation leader be?
Yeah, and you can even give them like different kind of perks, as well as kind of what they like. For example, I picked one that was like Megalopolis and inclusive, meaning that this guy will only make, or at least should. I haven't seen this in practice yet because I've only just been trying to learn how the game works over this week. But he should only make one city himself, but also still try to assimilate any independent people he comes across. So you're kind of so you're kind of setting like this one just how they generally operate. Conqueror. Yeah, the bonuses they get, and then what they're kind of trying to do while playing. And you unlock more as you complete the game and get achievements.
Okay. So I can basically get an improved suite of AI choices based on like the more stuff I've done in game. All right.
So
that's cool.
Anyway, I'll go ahead and start us off with a new game. I was having a little fun with a Korean civilization earlier, but I've tried to set everything as average as possible so everyone gets a good look at the game. Does have the default difficulty of Metropolis, which in my experience is too easy. Like I was telling you earlier, but I'll tell chat for the first time. When I played my first couple of games in Metropolis and just coasted all the way to the end of the game with no one declaring war on me.
So very low interaction.
Yeah,
just kind of a SimCity building your stuff, and you outdid them.
It's probably a good game to try out if you're like new to 4X games in general and just have no idea how any of this works. But if you're experienced with Civ in any way, it's probably too easy. But I went ahead and set the world on pretty much most generic as possible. So I'm just going to go ahead and start. And, you know, I'll go... I don't want to interrupt what happens next, but I'll go ahead and say that Amplitude decided to add a bit more artistic flair to kind of the growth of civilization. Oh, I forgot there's a loading screen after this, so I still have to vamp for time.
So you said that you played as Korea, so I feel like so there we can make our own characters, but we are still like representing a real nation.
That is interesting, and you'll see, because actually when you start, you aren't going to start as any civilization at all. You are going to be a nomadic tribe, hunter-gatherer culture.
Okay. And
essentially,
then, like, what nation you are develops, like, is it how you play or where you are geographically?
Yeah, it's easy. It's easier to show than it is to describe. But essentially,
the game will probably show.
As you play through the game, the types of play you choose will help define what ultimate civilization you're going to have at the end of the game.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Like, for example, you saw me play. Like I said, I was playing as Korea, but actually, when I started the game, I was playing as ancient China, and then halfway through the game, I switched over to Persia. I actually forget, but yeah, I ultimately, in the early modern era, ended up playing as a developing Korea.
Interesting. Okay.
But also, while we wait, I see a few subs coming in. Mug8484, thank you for the Prime sub. Z. 329, thank you for the 25-month resub. And Estelle, oh my gosh, it's 54 months, so I'm so sorry if I get this wrong, but Astrologria, thank you for the 54-month resub. Do let me know if I messed that up, because I feel like I did, and you definitely deserve to have that pronounced right for being subbed to us for so long.
Astrologria. I don't know.
Oh, you make it sound so romantic.
It's, yeah, you know, it's one of the romance languages, elite speak.
So yeah, this is what I was talking about.
Our universe contains infinite stories. Most of which are about rocks and ice at sub-zero temperatures in a vacuum. Rather boring. However, on a small damp rock, there is a story that bears a second look. This
is fun and charming, and I guess you can probably skip it.
Yes, you can.
Every time at doing this, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, it does. It gives you this every time you start a new game, but you can easily just hit escape and skip into it.
Gotcha. But this is already pretty cool, though.
And you get a nice measure of snark the narrator's going to have for the entire game.
Okay.
For better or worse.
We're not getting a Sean Bean, everything is dramatic and epic. We're going to have a little bit of like, you were a dumb monkey at one point.
Yeah, no, it in times and place, it does go, yeah, we know what this is. Especially since you are...
You savage, sure you can conquer them.
Yeah, you started out as an immortal leader. We're going to take the piss a bit.
And probably exaggerate their adventures. Eventually...
Humans are liars by nature, of course.
And immediately hold the
prone to embellishment.
This is the dawn of humankind.
Yo, thank you, Fampy, for the bits, and Money Jermaine for the bits.
And Red Horrors, thank you.
The Neolithic era draws to a close. The whole world.
Love you guys' chemistry, love hearing your band together. Heartfelt thanks for getting me back into 4X games. You're very welcome. Thank you very much again.
You are the one who will build them into a great civilization. How far will you push humankind?
To the brink!
Question. Yes.
A new era,
as far as they'll go.
While your tribe looks to you for leadership, the weight of all those future, unborn generations also weighs upon your decisions. What sort of lives will they
No
have?
pressure.
So one thing I will point out, like I said, for better or worse, the narrator talks a lot.
Okay, so very, very chatty narrator.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that when you have subtitles enabled, it partially blocks this thing, which gives you notifications.
Oh, ooh,
so already a bit of UI design problems off the bat. But, so, we are now in the Neolithic era. We cannot make cities. So obviously, first big contrast from Civilization is you start out with a settler in Civilization. Here, you just have a tribe. And the whole thing you want to do for the first probably 20 turns is explore. And as you're exploring...
Okay. Oh yeah, duh. You're nomads. I was like, so you just start as like a village and you can't move, but like, oh okay, you are a nomad tribe, so you were just looking for a place to settle.
And as you can see, you're running it. So one thing I love, and it's so petty, but I love it over civilization. It tells you where all the strategic resources is off the bat, even if you have no clue what they are. So this could be uranium, which is of course going to be useless until the modern era. But I at least know something is here.
Something important is there.
Something worth taking is here. And also, Town of the Dragon. Yeah. I don't want to go too far, but thank you for 5 gift subs.
Yes, thank you very much. Was also hovering on that and was going to look for an opening. As well as Rock Roulan for the bits and Gummy Bear Pizza.
Okay, and so as you move your tribe around, you're going to come across things like these, which are essentially little, what would you probably call them? Anomalies, curiosities, I think they're called in this game. And the idea is
kind of like the tribal villages,
yes, I'm guessing? Not, you know what? Same result, but different kind of thing. So we have, the one we just saw was a food one. Let's see, which one would that be called? Growth. It's a growth curiosity. And so going over that will usually give us food, and the more food we get will actually give us extra units. Because obviously, in the Neolithic era, without a city, can't build more units.
Right.
So the idea is as you're going about, you're finding the growth curiosities, getting more food, getting more units. Because you could, I usually end up having a full 4 stack of tribesmen, but you can, if you want to, split them off. So instead of having like one super stack,
next time it might be better if you washed it first.
Yeah, he's gonna talk like that. It might be better to actually split off a unit after it gets made, so you have 2 units patrolling instead of one larger stack. But obviously the flip side being, if you come across any, say, mammoths, which you can kill to give you hunter stars, you're better off having a stack. Now, about these stars, these are how you move from one age to the next, because... why did I say because? That's so weird. Once you have, as you can see, these are all fractional. We have like 1 out of 5, 0 out of 5, 0 out of 10. The more you go over curiosities of a certain type, growth, science, knowledge, or hunter, you get one of those filled in. And when you have, say, 5 or 10 or 5, that's when you can finally go into essentially the first era and become an actual civilization.
Just because a culture
so it's basically like not so much your science, but like your inspiration, kind of. Like
yeah, and these all get filled out depending on the curiosities you find along the way.
I see. Okay. This is
Yeah. So
and it took me a second to piece together. Like your tribe has multiple units within it. I'm guessing. Is that how
this is how. So armies are handled the same way. You can have at the start of the game you have a stack. You have the potential to make a stack of up to 4 units. It's just in the Neolithic era, it does this automatically with your first tribe. Is as you get more food, you get more tribesmen, which fills out the stack. But I can say do this.
Just split it.
And now, now I have 2 separate units.
I see.
Now what we want to do is find a good spot to create our first outpost, which is how we claim territory. You can't do that, and you can't do that initially. You have to get some influence before you can even try. But now that I have 5, I could say use this tribe over here, try and claim this territory, and make sure we pin down that strategic resource once we find out what that is. So you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and have us do that. And it looks like this spot, if I put the thing down, and like Civilization, once you put something down, it's going to exploit the resources on its hex and the hexes and all the hexes around it. So that actually looks like a good spot right there, because it gives us double digits of both industry and food. So I'm going to have them do that. And speaking of resources, so much to cover. There are 5 resources in this game, not counting like the luxury and strategic resources. You have food, you have industry, science, and income, which money. You also have influence, which is kind of the third resource, which you use to say get favor with independent people, claim more territory, etc., etc. But it's really only the first 4 that determines city growth and viability.
Did you mention faith among those things? Is there any religion aspect in this?
You do get faith, but it's not like I was mainly talking about resources you get out of the land. You're not really going to find a tile that gives you faith.
You know what? Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, but there will be wonders or other specialty districts that you plop down that then give you faith. And yes, there is a religion mechanic in here that honestly I have done, but can't say I really understand. So I'll try to cover it when it pops
Maybe
up.
Something we can learn together.
Yeah.
Also, really quick, want to shout out Tyrosine Terror. Thank you for gifting a sub to Rockrulan. Money Jermaine dropping another 1,000 bits. Thank you very much. And Talon the Dragon with 100 bits saying, is civilization the friends we make along the way? If you mean make as in literally because we consume enough food, it's looking like it. Also, Omega Syntax, thank you for the sub.
So there are this is kind of Amplitude's DNA and whatever they make. There's a lot of RPG mechanics. So even in this game, you have right here a nice little storyline. Yesterday, the tribe came across a vast tract of wild grain. The stalks swing in the breeze like the wind playing over golden waters. The ground down grain could feed the tribe twice over, but one of the tribal elders had another idea. Instead of pounding the seeds into flour, she suggests planting half of them so the grasses may return next summer. This is a curious idea, at odds with the nomadic life, but perhaps a harbinger of the future. What should you do? Now, we could, if we want to, just boost food production on whatever outpost we're about to make, or we could plan it, and that essentially means that whenever we get to the domestication technology, which is we're not going to be able to research anything until we hit the next era, it's cheaper.
Okay, so this is like put off doing our first civilization kind of thing, or just go ahead and kind of jumpstart it?
Yes.
That's sort of our choice here.
Yeah, the idea with extra food production is once you make an outpost, you can actually make more tribesmen, but nothing else. You can't build buildings, you can't build districts. But essentially, it's the game's kind of going, okay, if somehow all your tribesmen die, this is how we prevent a game over.
Okay.
So I usually never go with grind because I'm never in the Neolithic era long enough to have this pay off, and I always like having tech. So I'm going to go ahead and keep with that. But it is a choice you can make, and it kind of...
So there's no way to get into, like, end game being like, we are still a nomadic tribe, we were just so friggin' strong, no country could stop us when we walked by.
Honestly, no clue. I do know that if you stay in the Neolithic era, you can't make any other unit aside from tribesmen. And given that they only have, like, 10 unit strength, another civilization with a tank is probably going to be able to stop you.
Yeah, okay.
But off the top of my head, I can't say there's anything in the game that expressly forbids you from doing that.
It's just probably a bad move.
Yeah. In fact, there is... So the thing is, if we fill out any one of these 3 qualities, we can jump into the next era. But it does pay off, if you're like right on the cusp of filling up another one, to stay in the Neolithic era a bit longer. Because if you get another one of these, minus the one that kind of makes this star pop up, you get I forget what it's called, but essentially a trait of your people, which tacks on to the trait of your civilization. So there's kind of like a risk-reward thing with not being, say, the first person to reach the next era. You can't climb mountains, can you? All right, well, go this way.
We haven't figured out how to do that yet.
Have you guys go down there. Really? Actually, you know what?
This hill's too big.
That's honestly what kind of annoys me about the pathfinding is I can clearly see there's a mountain there, but for some reason the unit doesn't seem to know that until it's right up against it and goes, "Oh, I can't climb this. What are you telling me to do?"
Thank you, Eckersworth, for the bits, and Grant Quinn, aka the full package, brains, brawn, and brass. This stream is packing.
Thank you, Eckersworth. So here's a layer, which is essentially a spawn point for hostile wildlife. I can actually use the ransack ability to park a unit on top of it for a turn, and it will destroy the layer, as well as give me, I guess, influence. I don't quite remember. But essentially...
But is this what's going to spawn animals that gives us hunting stars if we kill them or
yes.
something? Was that what you were talking about earlier? Okay.
Correct. Yep, like a bear, which can beat us mano a mano, and it's of course going to park itself right on that. Oh!
Yeah, it's like, oh, I see some humans messing about my
Fine,
lair.
we'll cross the river, jerk. All right, now... Okay.
Also, Jubberwocky with the good point. Our tribesmen can't see the mountains because they aren't omniscient gods like we are who have this infinite sight.
All right, and as you can see, when you get into a territory, it will give you hints like where's the best place to put an outpost.
Okay.
That
like
was
the
why
AI recommendations.
Yeah, because you can see like the tile glows, and it actually tells you what resources you get. So I'm going to still keep it in this valley, which has a lot of resources around it. And so it's going to take two turns for the outpost to actually mature, but our unit doesn't have to stay there the whole time. The only thing it costs to set up an outpost is the influence and the rest of whatever unit's movement it took to get there.
So basically, ends your turn when you get there.
Yeah, for that unit.
Stay there forever.
Yep. All right, there we go. Man, not a lot of food. Ooh, woolly mammoth. We just got
gonna eat like kings.
Yeah, we just got another tribesman, so we might actually be able to beat it. And that'll be a good show off of combat. Oh, got another event. Your scouts come to you, breathless from exertion. Between gasps, he tells you that he spied another tribe not far ahead. He leads you on, and after giving a stop signal, you drop to your bellies and crawl forward in the brush. My belly gets so scratched. Ahead, a young woman, no more than 13 summers, is leading a ceremony. Her audience, a dozen or so equally young or younger tribesmen. Many are crying, and when you see the bodies laid out, you understand they are in mourning. You know what you must do. Welcome! Yeah, so another choice. You can either make your tribe really fast by having them run away, which is helpful, especially when we're trying to explore the map, or get a new unit, which I always like. But it does have a chance of triggering another narrative event. Maybe these kids don't take kindly to our tribe. But that's drama, and I love it. Look, do it!
We're all about the drama here.
And because they're nice and fresh, I'm going to go ahead and have them explore that knowledge.
Wonder if we're going to get some tribal infighting, because the people we've adopted, there's segregation in the ranks, and they don't like each other, the neophytes and the old-timers.
Maybe. All right, next turn, unless that mammoth decides to run away, I'm going to go try and kill it. Hey, where are you going? Come back. No, come back.
No.
Oh, he senses...
I need to get ready for Ice Age 5.
I have more reason to kill you, Seinfeld.
No, it's Ray Romano.
Oh, you're right. In my defense, I haven't seen Ice Age I haven't seen any of the Ice Age movies in decades. Feels like decades at least. Oh, so anyway, now actually, perfect moment. You can see the difference. You have a sanctuary, which much like the lair generates wildlife, but these animals aren't going to attack you. They're just going to be elk or mammoths that wander around that you can kill if you want. And I do because I want to kill that mammoth. But
murder.
So yeah, the same rule applies though. If I want to get rid of this and say get a nice boost of influence and food, I can just ransack the sanctuary.
Gotcha.
All right, have you go over there. Have you go over there. Everyone's done.
First outpost means a first step into a new territory and a new extension of your empire's power.
Oh, there you are.
Ooh.
Also,
and another one popped up behind us.
vulnerability.
Okay, so one thing is from the Neolithic era all the way to the modern era, outposts are how you kind of say this territory is mine. Don't put anything here. It's a nice way to like block someone out without having to invest in city after city. Because actually, there's a city cap. The more cities you have, the harder it is to make them all stable. Okay, we unlocked the Aerostar. Good, I'll get into that in a sec. So you have, for example, the first cap you have is 2. You only have 2 cities. You can, like, through conquest or some other means, get a third, but that city is going to be inherently unstable. And it's essentially like if you have a city next to a capital in civilization. The influence of
kind of loyalty and stuff or whatever.
It's going to be disloyal. It's going to take forever to build stuff. It's just not a good time. But outposts don't have that problem because as long as you have the influence to pay for them, you can just plop them down and kind of isolate any territory you want. Now, granted, these can be ransacked just like the lairs and sanctuaries. So if you leave them undefended and someone really wants that territory, they can just take it. But let's fight a mammoth now to distract you from that. So same thing. It's like either run off, fight it manually, or run away. I'm sorry. Run away twice. The instant resolution, you auto-resolve the battle because combat does not take place as just smashing the units against each other. when any army meets another army, you go down into this manual, kind of a smaller map to fight in. And terrain matters a lot. As you can see right now, we're in this valley. I can't even deploy up here or move units up here, but high ground's really helpful when you're fighting something. So I may have... Ooh, and it's on a river too. That's going to make them a bit weaker. So actually,
Surround them.
I'm actually going to see what... I'm going to make it attack us and see what happens. Okay, so it did a lot of damage. We did more damage to it than it did to us. So I think playing the numbers game, we should do okay.
Makes sense to me. Yo, thank you, Draco, for the sub. Fun, Mr. Steak emote.
And so,
like I said, run. Oh,
yeah, like I said about the river, things like rivers, like the elevation between different units, if they can on this map, yeah, unless we were all the way down here, there'd be no difference in elevation.
Okay.
But that stuff really affects your combat. So it does pay off to, if you have two rather large armies fight each other, to play it out on the battle map so you can take advantage of differences in elevation. And we got enough food from that we got our third unit.
Hey! Our little tribe is growing.
All right, and so as they got us our 100 star. So now that we have our first star, you can see we got a little bit of fame, and fame is how the game tracks your success. The
animals are talking about us.
Whoever gets to the end of the game with the most fame, doesn't matter what age you're in, doesn't matter how the game ends, whether it's well, if everyone's dead, then the last remaining person does.
So is fame the only win condition, basically? Like, it's just you gain it through different means.
Yeah, unless you're able to eliminate a player, whoever has the most fame at the end of the game is the winner. That is how you do it. There are different things you can do to get fame. Right. I'll get into that when we get into the next era. But fame is pretty much the only metric of success, aside from living and dying.
Yeah, obviously dying, probably not going to win.
So it looks like we're not going to be able to get any of the other two qualities filled out anytime soon. So I'm actually going to go ahead and click this, and this pops up. And so this is where you make your first civilization choice. You get all of the civilizations that were prosperous during the quote-unquote ancient era, with different qualities, and all the different qualities, different specialty districts, different units, and you pick one.
Now, if you pick one, is it off the board for other players, or can there be like two Olmecs or two Egyptians?
As you see with the Mycenaeans, we cannot pick them, because it was picked by another civilization.
Gotcha. Okay.
And as you can see with these little icons here, each civilization seems to specialize in a different area. You have the Zhao. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I think it makes me think of like Admiral Zhao.
Yeah, that's what I went to as well.
Yeah, so they have the star, which means their affinity is with influence. Their main thing, whether it be with just their basic ability or their specialty district, is to accrue. I say that, but then most of their stuff is science and stability. So thank you, game, for ruining my point. But yeah, the whole thing here is different civilizations have an affinity, and the basic thing about that affinity is that when you get a star related to it, and you'll see when I get into the ancient era how that looks like, they get more fame for that star than any other civilization would get for that same kind of achievement.
Okay, so it's like here's basically the preferred victory direction for this civilization.
Because after this point, we need 7 stars to get to the next era. And there are a lot of different ways to get stars, but there are 7 kind of categories of growth that, like, if you, for example, there's a category for science, a category for building, a category for influence, a category for money, and all of those are just thresholds of get up to this number of influence, money, districts, whatever. Now, every civilization in the game has those goals, but if your civilization specializes in influence, you get more fame for getting a star for getting up to a certain level of influence.
Okay.
And of course, it'll make more sense. Yeah, it makes more sense once I'm able to get into the ancient era and show you what that menu looks like. But I actually constantly go with the Zhao because I just love. every specialty district
All these buffs, you're a fan.
yeah, many things, science, of course. I'm a big sucker for that. But also, there's always one civilization that has a specialty district that actually gives you stability. All the other ones cost it. -10.
Oh, I
minus
see.
10.
So this is like the only one that builds stability.
Yeah, there is a technology that gives you something to boost it later in the game, but the general principle is all specialty districts cost you stability, and that's kind of the soft cap on how many you can build in a city. Is if you build too many, it eventually becomes unstable and revolts against you. However, because I usually go with them, let's do something a bit different. I'm not sure how...
Omega Watts is shouting out Egyptians and Harapans. Both can get broken if you do it right.
I have played Egyptians before. They are the builders. Depending on where you put their pyramid district, you can get a lot of industry and just have your cities churn out stuff. So you know what? I am going to go with something I'm at least a little bit familiar with, and I'll go ahead and adopt the Egyptians.
Hey, walk
And
like an
your
Egyptian.
outfit changes.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, Pharaoh, my Pharaoh.
Yeah. So pale. He's so pale.
Gonna have to get in the shade for the white Pharaoh. They called him the Egyptian ghost.
And so now that we moved into the ancient era, we're no longer...
The challenges of
the
a young
cutscene.
civilization.
Yeah, let's
It's hard keeping up with the neighbors when they have the wheel and you don't. Humankind learns quickly that everyone contributes. If you're terrified of wild animals,
I'm guessing every civilization has their own little custom intro, or is it always this?
It's always the same for each era.
Okay.
It'd be cool if they did that, if they did it differently for each one, but...
I was just gonna say this gives me kind of an Egyptian feel with the music, so I didn't know if it was specific. But
Yeah, but...
entering this era as the Egyptians then? No prizes for guessing how you plan to leave your mark.
But the snide common is always unique. So now all of our tribesmen have become scouts, and this is now a much more default thing. And guess what they're good at? Scouting. But now you'll notice there's no longer that thing where it's like if we get a certain amount of food, another one pops up. Now we
it's
make
just you gotta feed yourself.
Yeah, and if you have outposts, you now have the choice of making one of them for free turn into a city. So now we have our first city.
Okay, welcome to Memphis.
And so now this is the part of the game where, there are actually 2 strategic resources in this sector. It's very convenient. Now what we want to do is with the scouts we now have, make things a bit safer. I definitely don't want bears popping up everywhere, but also using the influence we get a bit more innately by just having a city, make more outposts. Because the thing is, we're not going to make, like I said, we're not going to make a city to claim each one of these territories and the stuff in them. We're going to put outposts, because when you make an outpost, you can attach it to a city and essentially grow the regions it's pulling resources from.
So it's basically like expanding your territory without making a real full-on city.
Yes, because you can't at this point.
Because you've only got so many cities you can make.
Yeah, and you can't make anything from an outpost at this point. It's just there to claim the territory and the resources for whatever city it's connected to.
Okay.
So not really a lot of good territories around. I mean, the one territory we grab is great. It has 2 luxury resources. In the future, we'll have 2 strategic resources we can use. That's pretty good. This one may be another one, since it has ebony and coffee in one territory. So I may actually have these guys kill a bear and then come back down here.
Raven asking a very appropriate question here. Will subs be able to rename cities / outposts in this game?
I didn't know if we wanted to do like a whole full playthrough of this, especially since you're still on the fence as to whether this is even worth getting. But if someone wants, if a sub wants us to rename Memphis, a sub can rename Memphis.
There you go.
So first one to give up a name Grant likes, that'll be the name for Memphis, because I'm busy.
Yeah, I'll have my eye on chat. You keep doing what you're doing.
And so we have the 2 little things here where we can either build a district, which actually expands the amount of territory the city is consuming resources from. I build one here, and you can see the 3 resources ringing around it actually start to get collected, which is why it's saying, hey, this might be a good place to put down a district. But you also just have buildings. And this is a lot like Civ, buildings within the city that don't take up space. They just pop in the city and start working. So I think I'll go ahead and have us build that pottery workshop for influence, and then if it says a pyramid should go here, I'll go ahead and put a pyramid there. And then this and public, as far as I can tell, public ceremonies is just kind of like the production turns into food, production turns into money kind of thing, where if you don't have anything to build, the city just does this for you. Also, and one extra thing I'll notice, units cost people.
Oh.
So, yeah, the city by itself just consumes resources by just existing. But when it starts getting populated, which is determined by food, you can either keep the people up here, kind of like a Master of Orion thing, where they just start adding to how much resources the city's pulling in, or consume them by building a unit. And units, by default, will always cost you at least 1 people. So at the moment, can't build any more scouts. We don't have enough people. So,
gotcha.
And it's an interesting way to limit army spam. You could have the best kind of production city in the world, but if it has no people, you're not using it to make armies.
As far as naming Memphis, I've got a couple that are rattling around here. Maybe I'll leave the final choice to you.
All right.
I really like Omega Syntax's Flavortown 3.0 and Talon of the Dragons Grantinoptera, and I saw someone else do Quincinnati 2.
I want to do Quincinnati too. I'm biased, but is that how it was spelled?
I believe so, yes.
All right, I'm gonna use the Roman numeral to make it look a bit more official. There we go.
Welcome, Quincinnati. The return.
The next one can be named after you.
I'll allow it.
All right, so you know what? You guys are not going to get into any fights. You just explore automatically. Oh, hey, we already found I think we already found our next civilization over here. But the game has not decided not to tell me. Okay, then I'll wait.
All together.
Kill that elk. Oh, and so something else I'll note is there is still and this was what I was talking about. This is like the 7 categories of where you get your main stars.
Like your different victory conditions, basically.
Yeah, a lot like that. And because we're the Egyptians who have an affinity for industry, the stars that give us the most amount of fame are the builder stars. And those are determined by how many like specific hexagons you've built something on. Currently I have 0, but once I finish those pyramids down here, that'll bump up by 1. And once I build 6, I'll get the first star, and then it'll tell me how many I need to get the second star, and after that, how many I need to get the third star. You can only get 3, and we need 7, so you're kind of expected to dabble in, and I always end up getting all 3 of the science stars, because that's just how I roll. But you also get stars for completing specific deeds, a lot like how you get era score in Civilization. But you only can do these once, and like you get specific ones for finding natural wonders.
It's kind of like a bounty board for different things.
So it covers everything. So like the first one is the train spotter, build a railway line. So obviously no one's going to get this for several eras, but you do get one for building the first wonder, one for building a holy site. As long as you're the first one, yeah, you get fame and you get a star. Or maybe you just get fame. I'm not entirely a master of this game. But the different way you get stars is doing this, at the very least.
And is it like, so when we jumped into the new age, we became the Egyptians. Shifting ages, is that when you're like able to swap what civilization you are and like kind of go for different stars?
Yes, you actually you have a choice. Luckily, I can peek into the next era using this button. You can either stay with whatever culture you already unlocked and essentially transcend it, which means you don't get anything new. But
you're better at what you do.
Well, only in the sense that when you, for example, if we get into the classical era, the builder category resets. Instead of 3 stars, we have no stars. But for every star we get in that category again, we get 10% additional fame. And because that's the ultimate victory resource, there is a benefit to, hey, I'm really good with this culture, I want to stick with it. But I've only transcended a couple of times. It seems like it's a lot better to kind of amalgamate because you start building up these innate, for example, we get one, let's see, which one? Yeah, we keep this grand planners thing all the way through, but we only get a new one if we get a different culture. So at the end of the game, you can have six different kind of default culture bonuses, as well as whatever special thing you get for just being that culture at the moment.
Okay, and like, is there? I'm assuming generally the same number of ages every game, so you're only going to get this choice so many times.
Yeah, you can only get up to 6.
Okay.
Like I finished the first game just barely getting into the last era, so it seems like if the game goes slow enough, it's possible for it to end before you even finish the era progression. Because the max amount of turns you have is 300.
Gotcha. Also, Reggae Stark logging in just to point out the other civilization is still a hunting party. They have not advanced eras yet. I'm assuming that means they are vulnerable for us.
Well, it does mean that they aren't like a formal civilization. There's a lot less. I didn't know it actually meant I couldn't do any diplomacy with them at all, because this is actually, I think, the first time I've run across someone still in the Neolithic era after I've progressed. Man, you were just churning out mammoths.
And Boozer in chat mentioning how overly priced a lot of Civ stuff is as it's coming out. Despite me loving Civ, I absolutely agree. It is a very expensive game if you're going in as it's new. But basically now you can get basically all the expansions for pretty cheap normally. Like, I feel like they're frequently on sale.
Man, there is a lot of industry to get in there. I'm going to go ahead and send them in. Yeah, especially if you want to have the full experience with Civilization 6, where you have to get Rise and Fall and Gathering Storm. I can get it.
Yeah, it's definitely a pricey jump-in point, and I do not disparage anyone for being like, I don't think I'm into it that much.
This is kind of that. Now we're getting a lot more. Every time I want to talk, it's the narrator.
Outhouse.
And you see what I mean right here with it blocking off. And so now we get to learn that other nomadic tribes are picking their civilizations too. No matter where you are, you do find out when the cultures start getting gobbled up. And if you have enough competitors, you can have a game where it's like, I wanted to be the Greeks in the next era, but because I was too slow,
they've been locked out.
they're gone. As well as all the other science cultures. So there is kind of...
But this kind of helps prevent someone like run away with one victory type, because other people will be grabbing, you know, the civs that would probably have helped them at some point, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's essentially it's kind of like how you race for wonders, but instead of that, you're racing for different cultures. And oh my, it looks like they've been busy. They've got a couple of outposts out here. I don't want that. I think I'm going to be a bit evil.
Try to use this game's terminology. They're cultures.
Yeah, we're going to be a bit evil now. We're going to ransack these guys' outposts so they can't
villainy
butt up against us. All right, and now we got our second outpost. Oh, and one extra condition: that whatever territory you're trying to attach has to be connected somehow to your original territory. So
okay, so you can't just have like a floating island in the middle of.
Yeah, I couldn't. For example, I couldn't like take this over and try to attach it. I could build an outpost here, but because I'd have to get like 2 more territories to get a physical connection, I wouldn't be able to attach it.
I see.
Okay, so I've got these guys up here. Still need to go somewhere. Man, there are a lot of animal sanctuaries around here.
They think they're safe from our scouts.
All right, so now come back here because
time for your first battle.
Oh, okay.
I bet you're absolutely
they decided to fight us.
See how your fighters handle themselves.
Unfortunately, they probably have a lot of. Yeah, they've got two hunting parties together. That's actually too much for our scouts, so I'm going to retreat. I didn't expect them to fight us, so a bit too aggressive. But I'll make them pay.
We're ready for that.
Yeah, I think that is the downside. Your scout units, actually no, they have the default is 10. They have 13. So I guess it's just it was 2 against 1. That's why they lost, or would have lost. So I'll start ransacking that sanctuary, and now that this outpost is made, I will spend some influence to attach it.
And now we got a bigger world.
And the thing is, attaching it then also allows you to come down here and start building stuff. Attaching to the outpost, you're essentially not only adding the whole territory, but like at least 6 more tiles for the city to exploit.
I see.
And we've got our first pop.
Oh.
Yeah, no. So right now, He's currently helping us get food, so 1 pop helps us get more. Or I could turn him into a scout if I wanted to.
Oh, I see. Okay, yes. That's right, because we need people to be our units.
All right, now that they're done, I'm actually going to have them heal from the mammoth fight ages ago.
Mars
Greetings to the
619, can we make magic
Now
real
there's
in this
some
game?
good
I'm
fortune.
assuming there isn't any
A neighbor
supernatural
who may be
stuff.
more interested
Yeah,
in that
you're not going to be able. You're not going to be able to kind of bend the rules that much, which is sad. There are 4X games out there that kind of let you go that far. I can't. I feel like it was a Warlock game. I forget what it was called, but you could do a lot more fun stuff. Oh, I guess it's more Age of Wonders. That's the game I was thinking of. All right, they can't retreat because we already did that last turn. So I'm going to see if I can't make the fight better with a manual battle. Unfortunately, we do not have a terrain advantage because they got us down against this hill.
Caught us on the high ground.
I do think this is going to be the best place for us to start because they at least have to come down to our level to fight us.
Guys, we were just gonna steal some of your resources. Calm down.
Even amount of strength, but they do get a malice for crossing the river. Oh, their default.
We just defend?
You know what? The thing was that they did attack us first and do 1 point more damage. So it might. I'll defend because at the very least, combat only goes for 3 rounds. After 3 rounds.
It just resolves.
After you have to wait. It continues in the next turn, so you can have battles last more than 1 turn. And now that they actually put themselves on a lower elevation, we have the advantage. And he died, so we won. Now, combat outside of wars, actually inside wars too, because that also has the same effect. Affects your war support.
Greetings.
And much like Stellaris.
Loyal friend, as long as you don't cross me.
Well, you already attacked me, so we're already on bad terms there. The war support is a lot like the quality it was in Stellaris, where the goal essentially in war is to drive the war support all the way down to 0 and force them to accept a peace. As for when it's at like 50, it goes up and down depending on how you're doing in just regular Cold War, where they can fight you, and if you win, your war support goes up and theirs goes down. If you lose, theirs goes up, yours goes down. And then, of course, that makes a crisis, which, honestly, I still don't fully understand, because mostly in the first era, you have stuff like, yeah, no, you attacked me, that was mean. And then I can press the issue where they will decide to either agree to my demands and pay me money, or refuse me and go to war. But because their war support is already on the downslope, that may be what I want. But at the moment, all I have are scouts. But then again, we're playing evil, so you know what? I'll demand.
Give recompense, and this error can be overlooked.
I agree with Jubberwocky. The Nubian leader looks about as Nubian as our leader looks Egyptian.
Yeah.
You have hit the rock bottom of my contempt and hatred.
And see, and this is what I don't get. I have now pressed my demand. She has nothing to do, but now nothing's changed. I don't know if that means we're not at war, but she's not.
But
she's
now
not,
she feels insulted, maybe.
Yeah, but she's not paying me, so I still don't know what's going on here, because I can still withdraw my demands, but all that does is give me war support, which is good for kind of future-proofing, or planning, because if the more war support I have, the easier a war against her would go. I'd have more of a cushion to accept losses.
Is war support basically like what your kingdom thinks of this war? Like how in favor of it they are?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
The idea being that when it's 0, your population
Just
forces
your
you
military is giving up. They
Yeah.
don't want to do it.
they accept peace. So I really don't know what goes on. This is kind of weird because they have the same kind of diplomacy system in the Endless games where the default is Cold War, meaning you're not really taking stuff from each other, but if your units meet in the field, they're probably going to fight.
If I see you on the street, it's on.
Yeah. And if you accept an alliance with somebody, you actually become like one larger faction. Are they also a hunting party? They aren't. They're scouts. So who are you?
Greetings. I'm a good neighbor and a loyal friend. As long as you don't cross me.
Okay, you said the same thing, and now I'm scared. We have 2 AIs against us, and they both seem kind of aggressive, so...
I mean, to be fair, the one was sort of just retaliating for us clearly looking to steal their spot. So
but we hadn't even done anything yet. And look, now they have a city one hopscotch away from us. It's just upriver. That's definitely a bad sign.
Yeah, that's probably not great. We might want to do something about that. Kindly ask them to move, perhaps. Send them a well-written letter.
Yeah, at the very least, I'm gonna make it cost them this outpost. The Nubians feel differently about me? Good. I imagine they do. And
even suggesting you don't forget about the special units that each group has. I don't know if that means something to you.
Once you get a culture, you do get a unique unit.
Okay.
For us, it would be I think chariot archers, but we don't have access to the technology that would give us that, and we need horses, which are over here.
Horsies. So do we need to like attach our?
We have to actually attach like 3 outposts to get access to that.
Okay.
Which is why I was hoping I'd find something a bit closer. Oh, but look, there's bronze up here, so we might actually. Oh, and that was a natural wonder. So it might actually behoove us to start aiming to build a city up here to at least get access to bronze.
Make an effort to push north.
Over this way.
And much like in the Neolithic era, there are still curiosities that pop up. Most of them give you science to help you with research.
Follow me.
But they can also give you other things. Like, now they're much more like tribal villages, except where tribal villages are just initially kind of built into the world. These can pop up in places you already explored.
If I made a game like this, I would make like an incredibly rare, like 1 in a 10,000 chance. But like one of those curiosities would be like chance encounter with ancient aliens. One of your units now has a ray gun. Like it's just like okay, you get one.
That would be really cool.
From the get-go.
Jubawaki asking, don't cities have to be contiguous? No. The regions you attach them have to be contiguous, but I could make a city up here and have it not be an issue. It'd be kind of, if they had a trade route between them, it would be hard to keep stable, but I can make a city up here if I want to.
In constructing an emblematic
And honestly, with bronze up here, I do.
You have become a builder.
And horses. Okay,
and
we're definitely making
creator.
a city up here.
There is more to creating an empire than just yelling orders.
And the problem, and the thing is, the land grab is fierce, because if you don't grab territory pretty quickly, you have independent people start popping up, and they'll take up territory. So either you, and much like city-states at that point, you either have to assimilate them or conquer them.
Okay. And that's just basically how you grow, how you steal from other people.
Yeah. That's kind of a way to play like more pacifist run, is you just pick on the independent people. Alright, can I have you make a... I can't, not yet. I need more influence. But for the time being, I do want you to just look around. Yeah, no, this looks like a great region to set up shop in. Just need to make sure no one else gets it. We have a calendar now!
We figured out how to organize. We can now tell each other, how about we do that next week and understand each other.
And so this is the Egyptian specialty unit. Lightweight chariot that has ranged capabilities, but obviously we don't want to spend 44 turns looking for it, so with enemies nearby, let's go for city defense. And these guys found us. This does not bode well. They're already injured. There's not a terrain.
Our health. It's gonna go fine.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and see how this goes. And it didn't even survive 1 round of combat.
Ooh. Well. So you said this is the difficulty you've lost on before, right?
Yes, I've played on Metropolis, on Nation, and on Empire. On Empire, I was smoked in the first age. Nation seems to be my difficulty level where I can win and I can lose in equal detail.
All right.
So this 3 may just end with our civilization being wiped out. Who knows?
Yeah. This journey itself may conclude today, for all we know.
But at least we made our stand at Cincinnati 2.
Yeah. Cincinnati 2 will be remembered.
That's probably a satellite of either the Babylonians or I don't know what Nubians. Yeah. We didn't lose CK3. I just did not want to continue that story of the poor kid kept in the dungeon that just happened to live. Man, that was an effed up story. Those Carlings would not stop having sex with each other, and it was bad. Alright. 120 influence. You just said it was 70. I guess because
someone died.
Yeah, and there might also be because there's so much cool stuff in this. Yeah, so it's 70 down here. So I may actually settle for now because I still have to spend the influence one way or the other. Or you know what? Do it. Because it's either I make the city here and then just attach an outpost in a bit, or wait another who knows how many turns, well, 12 turns actually with that kind of math to get the outpost I need. I'll go ahead and still preface this that I've had this game for about a week. I'm by no means an expert at it. I just generally understand the concepts.
This game is very new, and it is not, while obviously we are playing this for a stream, it's not exactly, you're not a pro gamer in that it was your job to solve this game last weekend.
Yeah, and so now that I've gotten the technology to build artisans districts, I actually can kind of expand into hexes outside the city to claim luxury resources.
Okay.
And if I knew what these were, I'd be able to exploit them too, but I don't, so I can't. Oh, and one more thing. No, not that. Go away. No, go away. I wanted this one. This is a nice cheap way to just see what every single tile gives you. A lot like it, like in Civ. Oh, there's some science.
Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah, and then it even has markers where you can put down like I'm going to build something here or here or here.
Good. Yeah, if you got a satisfying way that lets me plan ahead, then I'm around your finger, baby. Also, I agree. Talon of the Dragon with his 100 bits, and at least you know what, Quinn, you are the closest thing we have to an expert, so maybe that's just what we'll use for shorthand.
Off we go.
Ah, found more bronze. All right, so there's a bit more. There's a bit more stuff down here. I just don't know how much it's worth provoking probably the Babylonians. Oh yeah, they just got their outpost down here too. To get. I might just settle for ransacking animal sanctuaries.
Hey man, whatever keeps us alive.
Alright, so now that outpost is being set up.
We are not the proud Germanic vampires of yore. We are up against the rocks Egyptians.
The hard knock Egyptians.
Yeah. Bumped into Nubia and got in a fight about it and did not walk away pretty.
I already built these districts. Where else did you want me to build them? Oh, okay, that's right. Because I have this attached, I can also exploit these. But also, I should probably get palisades up sooner rather than later.
We could use some wall.
Yeah, once you get walls up, combat around cities takes a kind of a different turn. For like, if someone were to attack this city right now, you would see 2 hexes have like special defense bonuses. The actual hexes the city takes up are easier to defend than just normal hexes out and about.
Right.
And if you have walls, they're a lot easier to defend. But even to the point where like cavalry units can't move into those hexes unless the wall's broken down. Which I found very annoying, especially since when you can build siege engines during a siege, those have like the health of tissue paper and can immediately be destroyed. Who's fighting me now? Oh, is it Nubians again? Okay, well it's 3 against 1.
All right,
this
now let's see how they like it.
Especially if they attack me. Like if they get up here and just wait for me to show up, it may be bad for me, but I don't think they will.
Clans with their bits telling us to prepare for a long game, and Forced Hunter dropping 100 bits saying that they love content from us. Thank you very much. And Omega Watts with the 100 bits saying, I saw someone get super lucky and ended up in the medieval era at turn 120 while most hadn't even gotten halfway through the ancient era. Some builds are crazy if you get the right placement and culture.
Yeah, no, when I was the Korean game I was playing, whatever culture I had between the Zhao and the Koreans, I know it's like the Juisan, but I do not want to butcher that pronunciation. I was able to build districts that gave me like 20 industry and 30 food and just a single hex. So yeah, there are definitely ways, and that's also why I think the game wants you to shift between cultures, between eras, is that you can have that sort of gradual effect where all the bonuses stacked on top of each other make for broken builds.
Really? Okay, yeah, I can see that. Also ignored Twitcher. I think I will take your suggestion for our next city name of Ejrant. I don't know how you pronounce it, but that's what makes it funny to me. Forcing Egypt and Grant into a word.
Will do.
And another thing to consider when you're having these fights is that there are such things as like flanking bonuses. For example,
love me a good flank.
Yeah, because I'm getting a +4 for the rear attack right here. But as you can see, this scout unit has been around for a while. They've got veterancy, so this is going to be a hard. So I can see why the game was like, this might be a hard fight for you. It's like, fair enough, game. I get it.
But there was only one.
This might be. I think this is still worth it to take the damage out. And then you fall back so it doesn't destroy you. So another thing to note, that the thing with veterancy, with unit positioning, and the fact that every time you build a unit it takes a population out of your city, clearly I think the intention is they want you to not just make armies that you keep dumping in war. They definitely
don't want you to sacrifice your people like pawns, you're saying?
They want you to be a bit more strategic about it, even though honestly I've never had much success with it.
A soldier's value is in his death. You know this.
I know this. You know this. But the game tries to make you think you don't. Oh, that's not good. I don't like that at all. That's going to have to go bye-bye. This can't become a city yet. Actually, but how much would it cost to build an outpost here? Actually, it's more expensive.
Ooh.
So how about we come down here and see what they decided to build.
Thank you, Enforced Hunter, for the sub, buddy. If we later have more things to name, you are now available to name them.
Okay, get back over here because you're gonna have to heal. So if what you've seen so far interests you, I would actually like a chance to show you Endless Legend, the last kind of Civ. Because honestly, the art style, the more asymmetric way of playing it, the combat sucks. Let me just go ahead and say, I know this is like a let's take a look
for the Endless Legends game.
Yeah. No. Let me go ahead and have like an Endless Legend segue from Humankind for a sec. I love Endless Legend. The combat sucks because it is very much a point and shoot kind of tactic, even though it's still like what you equip your units with. You can equip your units to make one big difference from Civilization. The way combat plays out, I almost never do it manually because it feels like all I'm doing is telling my unit to attack this thing and I have no control over where it decides to move. Because the combat is a lot like this, where once two army stacks get together, it goes, okay, here's your battlefield. But the way it plays out in Endless Legend is you set your orders at the start of the round and then all the units just play out almost at the same time. And it is not intuitive at all. Humankind, I think, goes in a better direction where it's much more tactical, and once you start the fight, you can control. I really should have moved them up here. I don't know what I was thinking. Oh, it's still deployment. Never mind. There we go.
You still can.
Because so far, it's played out like it does in Endless Legend, where you pick where your units can go within a set field, and it lets you know how the battlefield's going to look. But the fact that you can actually still give your units individual orders on their turn, a lot better than Endless Legends, set everything at once and then hope it plays out well. Okay.
Like that guy just like walk over that mountain? That looked really weird for a second when they ran into attack.
You get -3 for crossing the river? Okay, fall back.
Omega Watts throwing some more bits saying, I enjoy this combat as it's not too complex, but it's also not as annoying or basic as Civ. Have you ever played Endless Space 2? I honestly think it is my favorite 4X sci-fi game. I have not, but...
Endless Space 2 is one of my favorite games. I'm kind of off and on it because there are times where it just feels like I'm doing the same thing no matter who I'm playing with. But I forgot they also have a capture of the flag mechanic in this game. I might just lose the combat because of it.
Oh, do they win for like being in that hex?
So it sucks because actually, if they're able to capture the flag, your unit, you lose the battle, and your units, I think it looks like your units defect. I've only had that happen a couple of times, but your unit just become like an independent. They essentially become mercenaries, but they just roam the map.
So it's basically the goal here. We should just have someone placed on that hex.
Yeah, you never.
Not let them move.
It definitely sucks to lose because of capture the flag, but sometimes, especially when the flag's down here and it's easy for them to just rush down and get that high ground advantage, it made sense to abandon it because I didn't want to just have them sit there and get killed for defending the flag while these guys rush downhill and get the extra bonus. So I'm actually going to have them defend, because having them defend actually does confer a small bonus to them. Oh, and we had the combat last more than 3 rounds, so now it's something I have to pick up next turn. As for Endless Space 2, Grant, if we just want to have like an I show you all the Amplitude games, we can do that for a couple of weeks.
Another stream series of me just getting into what these games are all about.
Yeah, at the very least, it'd probably be more exciting than Stellaris, or instead of having a whole session where I'm like, okay, hold on, let me try and tramp down all of these systems. It's a new game every week. Quinn's gonna show you. Yeah.
It's always something exciting and new.
You know what? I've been telling you a whole lot of stuff about how this game works, but there are like anything that I've done that like makes you wonder why I do it. Any questions so far?
Not so far. Everything's making mostly sense. Like I feel like there's just kind of a lot going on that it's like I'm kind of being like, oh yeah, that's right. This is also happening, and this.
Yeah.
But like all of the pieces are at least making sense so far. I feel like and this is something that'll just come with time and becoming more and more familiar with the game. The map to me is not super clear a lot of the time. Like I do appreciate seeing like where the resources are and stuff before we discover stuff. Like I think that's smart and good, and I'm in favor of a game doing that. But I don't know, which is how and also like you were talking about like how the subtitles can like kind of cover some UI stuff. Like I feel like there's just a lot going on to me, and I'm sure to someone who doesn't know Civ, that looks like a ton going on. That's just a bunch of visual noise. But like for here, I just feel like I see a bunch of different menus. They're all telling me a bunch of different things, and I don't immediately know what they all mean. But each step you're making, I am getting kind of why you're doing it.
No fear.
I think we just lost this battle. Yeah.
Oh no!
Well, that's a bit costly. Especially since we have this outpost here they're probably going to want to ruin.
We spread too far from Cincinnati.
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, the fact that it had bronze and horses in one region made this just really tempting.
That seems like some promised land kind of shit. We need to make our way up there.
Yeah, I mean, this is honestly, if I had found this region first, this is where I would have put Cincinnati too, because obviously it's kind of 2 in the hand versus 2 in the bush. Because I still like these may not pay off until long after we've lost the game. Like, if this is coal and this is uranium, that would be great if we were in the modern era, but we're not. We need bronze and horses.
Also, thank you, Omega Watts. They're saying, well, they're thanking you and I, saying we're the ones who got them into Civ and other 4X games to begin with. So, hey, thank you.
All right, and we got a scientist star. So we got our first star, because I haven't been able to build a lot lately. So we're a bit closer. How are we doing on the fame track? We're currently 3rd, which means
we're famous for losing. Oh, no.
Yeah, it actually looks like 3 of the cultures are just skimming by on what they got out of the Neolithic era. So the only people beating us are people that are in the ancient era and actually doing stuff with their culture.
That's a little embarrassing.
Yeah, well, we'll kill these guys to make ourselves feel better.
The Egyptian way, after all. Civil Protection saying, why no people pick Olmec? Shake my head. And Zatsune agreeing with them.
I mean, I have like I usually go with either the Zhao or the Egyptians just because they're familiar. I haven't experimented too much with this game to know which one's like the super broken one yet.
Well, now I'm just curious what the Olmecs do. What made them so special? Civil.
It is interesting to see what choices, like what kind of preferences they gave to the different cultures, because depending on the era, there are obviously a lot of cultures lacking from different. Like for example, in I think the medieval era, almost nothing from the Far East is are the cultures listed, and you only get one Native American culture. So it's just it makes you think just how much they've been thinking about different things when they made their choices in this game. Ugh, I did not know they were gonna just sit on their flag. This was probably a bad idea to charge at them. Let's see, can I get a rear attack from any of these? Okay, if you all attack at once, you shouldn't die.
All together.
Yeah, like that.
Work together.
Okay, now that's gonna die next turn if that doesn't. Okay, now what are you gonna do? Okay, honestly, that was a lot more costly than I had hoped, but they had good positioning, and I decided to attack them.
You showed them who's boss.
Yeah, stay out of our turf, dude.
Go away.
We have these borders for a reason. Respect them, man. And they are grabbing all the territories. This is kind of like Nation. Depending on how I start, Nation is still maybe too hard for me in times, which is a kind of a weird problem. Where Metropolis is, I just coast to the finish.
Easy.
But yeah, but Nation is, they beat me.
You need to get a little better. So Nation is the, and not that dangerous.
Well, so the last game I was playing, I was lucky enough to have a continent to myself, which of course means I could build a power base and not have too much issue. Let's see. During the recent burial battle, it was both. Many soldiers sustained horrific, life-changing injuries before returning to Cincinnati 2. For some, their whole character has changed, becoming aggressive, demented, or unable to bear others' presence. Ooh, got our early form of PTSD. Otherwise known as PTSD, that we hadn't discovered yet. Others suffer physical wounds. Some forced to use crutches or carts to move around. Among the citizens, fear mixes with admiration as they spy them on the streets. Your lead will be vital. How do you welcome your crippled soldiers? Let's exploit them. Let's see here. I'm not building any more units, so exploit actually doesn't do anything for me. Oh, but I will mention, now that we have a civilization, we have ideologies. So we have these 4 ideological axes where our decisions usually move us either up or down, and we have the social axis, which is between tradition and progressivism, modernism. The light bulb represents, of course, more progressive ideas.
Technology.
Yeah. Then you have the 3 other ones, which I can't. Hang on, let me just pick this because I need the stability, and it makes more sense.
Hooray, war!
Let's see which one of these. There we go. We have the. Are you gonna tell me what the axis is, or just what this? Nope. Well, that's helpful, game. So anyway, 4 axes. Social one down here. We have 3 more, which is torn between liberty and authority. One between homeland and world, obviously globalism, and then collectivism or individualism. And depending on which section you're in, you get different bonuses. We're down the middle on all of these, which means we get stability. The middle one on all of them is stability, but when you get towards one, it's like this one starts favoring science, while the other side specializes in faith. This one gives you military advantages, while the other side gives you influence. This gives you food, while the other one gives you combat strength. This one gives you money, while the other one gives you industry. This is the one, obviously, I'm the most torn on, because industry and money are both so helpful.
They're both nice. I like all of it.
Yeah, so
saying, down with knowledge and peace. Hooray for violence and ivermectin.
Yeah. So as you make these, like the RP choices, you're moving these pips one way or another down these axes, and it's kind of I don't want to say gamified, but like you kind of want to, depending on your goals, you're going to want to sit in one specific spot.
You're looking to min-max these, or
yeah. Well, it's not even so. For example, 10% science is great, but if you're doing like a whole bunch of expansionism, where all your cities are now becoming unstable because you're spread out and you're building them all up, you may want having like plus 40 stability by just sitting in the middle of the axis. So it's kind of, as you're making your choices, you may find yourself all the way over here just because all the collected bonuses from these choices put you so like on the end of tradition. But maybe you want the 10% science instead of the plus 4 faith. So you're kind of thinking short term and long term, where what's the immediate bonus I want, and like how is this going to pay off on the ideological axis way down the line. So that's where you kind of have to start taking a breath and thinking, okay, immediate decision, and then how am I going to reconcile that with my long-term goals? And for better or worse, you may have to just change those long-term goals because your short-term choice is between letting a city revolt or taking authoritative control over it. That was a weird kind of example, but I haven't gotten an actual gameplay example of it yet.
it's just a roundabout way to describe how it could happen.
Yeah. And I guess, so now that we're an hour into oh my gosh, my brain is being torn 3 different ways.
Hey, you're having to do a bunch of strategy and explain a game to someone who's asking probably lots of questions that are pointing you in different directions.
Oh man, our science has not been paying off well if all these are taking so many turns. We're gonna have to look into that. So now that we're an hour in, I do want to say, I think Amplitude lost a bit of their kind of casual charm when they, because clearly this game is gunning for a Civilization's crown. It looks at a glance like Civilization. It has the same kind of mechanics, even if, yeah, a lot of these were built up over Amplitude's other games.
Right.
But I feel like they had a specific financial or business goal in mind, and that kind of corrupted the game itself. Because I don't hate this game. I like this game. Let me be clear on that. But I feel like if you were to put Humankind and say Endless Legend in front of me, I'd pick Endless Legend. And I know,
like, does this feel like they're waiting to add more stuff kind of thing, or like is that where you're getting at with it? Or...
I feel like they just felt like they had to put in so many tools or so many little bells and whistles to make it different enough from Civilization while still attracting the Civilization crowd that it's kind of a mess in places. You have the UI
that doesn't commit well enough in either direction.
Yeah, I mean, you have the snarky narrator that always is usually that's my bread and butter, but as even I've come to realize after 20 odd years on this earth, that kind of gets grating on people.
You can't have him be snarky every line.
Yeah, and then you have the UI that doesn't even seem to consider the fact that adding in subtitles makes all this stuff down here unusable until the guy's done talking, making it more annoying. And then you have all this stuff, which is neat, the way you can kind of have stuff build together through the ages, but it all just feels like so much.
It does seem like a lot going on.
Like, I've been trying to tell people how this game works for an hour, and I feel like I've done, 1, a terrible job, and 2, I'm just out of breath.
But also, like, just scratching the surface.
Yeah. And then it's like, yeah, you have the society stuff, and then you have the civics, which I can't even show you yet, because they don't let you look at the menu until you've unlocked one. And apparently I'm doing so bad on science, I haven't gotten to the point where it's like, oh, you've unlocked a civic. Because civics don't unlock until you reach like a certain milestone, whether it be a specific technology or just a specific event happening. So it's it feels like at times it's all over the place because they wanted to add in so many different little details to either distinguish it from Civ or make it like Civ Extra.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I haven't even gotten into the wonders. Here, I'll show you that now. These are your wonders.
Oh, I wonder. What's the
yeah.
natural wonder?
So you get 4 for every era. And instead of being like a race to build them, you just, when you have enough influence, you can reserve it.
Okay, so you can claim different wonders, and is it? I mean, I'm assuming there's one per map. So if someone else gets Temple Artemis, we can't do that.
Correct. For example, there are 6 competitors in this game. There are going to be 2 that lose out on having a wonder this era.
Okay.
You could technically have one civilization able to buy more than one if they have enough influence, but like you need 250 to get one, and then that price goes up to get the second one, so on and so forth.
And we're only getting what, 15 per turn right now?
Yeah, 15 per turn, which means we might get one. But if we want to try and like at least get one more city up and running, we probably won't get more than one this era.
But claiming them does not instantly
Do something
build
clever
them,
today.
Correct.
Like we'll still have to
All-
wait
all-
for them to show up, but
all-
once we claim them, no one else can.
Yeah, once you claim it, no one else can claim and build it. So you essentially
Well,
eliminated...
that's a little nice at least. So like
Yeah.
you can't have a situation in Civ where it's like, all right, we've been building this wonder for 80 turns, and oh, someone stole it the turn before it was gonna finish. So
Yeah, so you at least eliminate that annoyance, but at the same time, one, there's just not a lot of them, which kind of was the appeal of civilization, is you can have a city with the
There's
Pyramid
so
of Giza,
many, yeah.
and the Statue of Liberty, and the Temple of Artemis, but now it's just pick one, and you at most probably will get 6 throughout the whole game.
Yeah, maybe this is my gambler mentality coming in, but I feel like there's part of me that really likes the race aspect of getting a wonder in Civ. Like,
Yeah, it kind of feels
like even though it sucks when you lose, I think it is a really fun but I'm gonna make sure that guy doesn't get it when I do.
Yeah, because it feels like that's somewhat... It's not exactly replaced, but that I feel like they wanted to have that same rush when it came to choosing cultures.
That's what, that's fair, yeah.
Oh, and also, so one other thing I mentioned is you can have... If it's depending on the civilization, you can just have people start buying your luxury goods from you without even making a formal agreement, because that's just one of their abilities. Like I have the builder affinity, so I can start flipping cities into just producing specific resources from me. Or if I was like a merchant culture, I could go, okay, I want your coffee. I'm going to go ahead and invest in building a coffee thing for you. So you'll get access to it, but I also get it from trade.
But I'm now getting a little bit of stuff off of it.
Yeah.
Getting my beak wet from your coffee.
Yeah, and later in the game, when you have a specific tech, you get something that's a lot like the Monopoly system in one of the Civ patches. Which I have to admit, I don't still understand how it works, but it is how you kind of build a headquarters for that luxury good. And depending on how many luxury goods are in the world, you get specific kind of effects from having a set amount of it. Like having 1 die gives you +5 stability, +4 stability, and +5 industry. Or if you have 4, which is at least half of the die deposits in the world, you get the wondrous effects.
Oh, okay. So that gives you it. I'm seeing. So like that gives.
So that's where
10% stability. Okay.
That's where it
10
gets a bit
stability.
closer to like having the monopolies. And again, that feels like something that they just cribbed from Civilization.
A little bit, but it's a fine system and just kind of reflects how things are in reality. So I won't fight it too hard. If everybody's got all the dies, we're probably gonna give them something for them. Or send in thieves to smuggle them out. One of the two. Which, now that I think about it, not to make half of this about another game, but I wonder if in Civ, I don't think I've ever actually really tried, if there's a way to have spies still steal people's, like, Monopoly luxuries. That'd be fun.
There's our builder star, which means we got a whole lot more fame. We're now in second
getting
place when it comes to
famous.
fame. These guys are healed up, which means I can start sending them up here, because now we finally have enough culture to turn this into a city. So you saw a city name you liked. Now we can rename
Oh
it.
yes, it was. Okay, so pronouncing of this is going to be what we figure out over the course. But EGYRANT, so it's like Egypt and Grant fused into one. I'm thinking it's EGRANT.
So spell that for me one more time.
EGY.
EGY. Okay.
Yeah. RANT. So it's like we've got Egypt and Grant wrapped into one word.
Edrant, I think.
Yeah, Edrant is kind of what I'm going with. I also like Eggy Rant. I will accept either. They'll all mail to the same place.
There we go. Now we have our civics. So, unfortunately, I just spent all my influence to make that city, so I can't exactly
So
pick
now
them.
we don't have the
yeah.
influence
So,
for this?
so,
Okay.
so the thing is with civics, when they pop up, they only pop up if you have either certain technology or a certain event happens. I'm not exactly sure what the event is to have this queue up yet, since I'm still in the middle of researching a tech. But these are always seem to be the first two. And depending on what you pick, not only do you shift your ideology, but you get a flat just bonus.
Bonus.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for tech trees, or skill trees. Well, I guess it's all the same.
So it looks like I'm going to need like 20 influence to buy these, so we'll come back to it. But it's always one of these is a binary choice, and depending on what you pick, you have the ideology
Start pushing in
change,
a
the
direction.
flat bonus. Yeah. Walk like an Egrantian.
Yeah, there you go. Walk Like an Egyptian is one of those songs that, like, I mean, I know the chorus in that it's the title of the song, but the rest of it is just like, I kind of have a vague, like, I remember the rhythm of it and the melody a little bit, but none of the lyrics.
All right. We're going to need to start getting some science soon, so I might actually start moving these guys over here. But in the meantime, what else should I have you guys build? Probably a fortress, just so we can keep an eye on our northern neighbor.
That looks like it'll be an annoying bunch of terrain to get through from the north for our enemies.
Yeah, and if you build one of those fortresses, that's another like normal district that everyone has that gives you stability, and you can set it to be an army spawn point. It's a lot like a military district from Civ.
Gotcha.
Except you can actually choose where the unit spawns instead of that just being the default. I have not seen a single independent people this whole game. Oh, nope, change that. Ooh. So, okay, yeah. And that's the one I wanted to assimilate.
The spot we wanted to take.
Okay, well, I guess
we
that
have to kill him.
Yeah, well, either or. So this is
or
where
become their best friends.
Well, so this is where this comes in. So we have a choice. You can always assimilate them, but if we pick this one, it's cheaper to do so. So I think we've already made that choice for that.
They may have more to offer than just their weapons. Assimilation does seem practical.
And since I'm already in this land grab phase, I'm thinking I want the minus 50% on create outpost, and faith is good, especially since it finally let me show off what religion is.
That seems to leave a lot of interpretation of right and wrong, not to mention yours and mine.
Well, we're gonna have to wait to get the influence for that one anyway, so all right, we're gonna have to start getting these guys to like us. So here's some money. And for the independent people is a lot like the there's no frame of reference I can give to you, Grant, but for anyone listening who's played the other Amplitude games, it's a lot like the minor factions in Endless Legend and Endless Space, where you can kind of butter them up with different things and get them to essentially join you either through assimilation or through conquest. So for this one, I think I'm gonna just try and, because the thing is, I'm apparently in a race with I think the Babylonians. Yes, I have to get this all the way over here to qualify for assimilation, and I have to be the first one to get the patronage. So I'm kind of in a race to get the most influence with these guys before the Babylonians can. So which
convince
means
these people to sell themselves to us.
Yep. So that's going to be probably where I dump a lot of our money. Because I can, much like Civ, I can also spend money to speed up production of this stuff, which actually, if this one's only 2 turns away, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's see, and also get those starting to tap. But yeah, the money's probably going to end up going into these guys just so they want to join us. Ugh.
Please be our friends.
Yeah, you got horses and bronze. I need it. Although I could, at the very least, if I get it up to, I think, between 60 and 90 influence, I can just start buying that stuff from them. So when it comes to building units, I'd be counted as having one of those resources. It just costs me money to maintain it instead of just having it. Which is, I think, kind of how the game sidesteps the issue of what we had right here, where we can't build any horse units without that. But
Right. We're going to need a line on horses.
yeah. So you either have to make nice with the people who do own them, or take them.
How do you get yourself a horse? Be friends with the people with horses, obviously. Terror of the bovines.
Apparently, our city is very unenlightened. In
Yes!
this superstitious place, where hearsay and myths run wild, farmland animals are now being put on trial for crimes after a herd of cattle were sentenced to be burnt on a pyre for conspiring against the Empire. One wealthy landowner has had enough. Now he petitions for you to intervene. What is your stance on the judgment? So, of course, our choice would both tilt our ideology and give us a flat bonus. If we concur that we need to respect our religious customs, we get extra faith. We could overturn and get food, or we can say this is all dumb and get science. And honestly, with how slow our science seems to be coming in, I'm tempted to go with Scourge. Which
Just
doesn't
kinda pull it
actually
back in that direction.
Yeah, but it only pulls it back by 1 pip, so we're actually still in the same bracket of that ideology that we were originally.
Look at them, though. They have horns like the devil. They can't be trusted.
But if we burn them all, we probably won't get good meat out of them anymore. Definitely won't get milk.
This is quite the conundrum. I don't know. My gut instinct would probably go... I mean, I'm an agent of chaos. I'd be like, well, yeah, obviously these cows are conspiring against us and we need to be rid of them.
But just think how many, prim and proper priests will piss off by scorching the religious customs.
Oh, that is fun, though. I'm definitely okay with that as well.
I mean...
And that gets us some fun barbecue.
Animals are innocent. People are evil.
True. We can't harm the innocent among us, the dumb beasts who can't know the difference between right and wrong.
Honestly, I needed to make the pragmatic decision of we are really behind on science. It's taking us 23 turns to just learn masonry. I need that science.
Maybe God will tell us about masonry if we burn these cows.
Well, we'll never know. Replace the judge with a cow. I like that. I like that the best.
Yeah.
Maybe show them the error of their own ways by saying you had a vision.
Let this trial go if half the jury is cows. It must be fair.
We said jury of your peers. Well, only cows can judge cows.
Something to make our affairs more
Brief
civil.
recess for grazing.
Okay, well this is good. The Babylonians are willing to offer us a non-aggression pact, which means now our units aren't going to skirmish with one another.
Immediately fight when they see each other.
Yeah, and I mean, given what we had to deal, we're dealing with the Nubians. I'm going to go ahead and accept that.
Damn it, Jubberwocky, jury of your steers.
Oh, that's a good
As a
one.
place of safety,
Bravo,
a symbol of
sir.
power. Only your friends know of the extensive wine cellar.
Yeah, I have a feeling after this stream, I'm probably just going to turn the narrator down a smidge.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like, a oh, what was the game where you could like
Well, let's
adjust
find
the amount
out.
of narrating?
Why? I don't... Oh, settings, not game options. Activate narrator. So he's just on or off.
Wow. I kind of wish there was like a little middle ground there.
Yep, nope, it's just on or
Bubsy
off.
is who I was thinking, where there was like a meter of how much you wanted him to talk.
I'm going to go ahead and turn off the subtitles for narrator. That way the box doesn't block our view.
Hey, that's a good idea. Yo, thank you, Mr. Bug with a shovel for 100 bits, saying just forge a mighty shovel and rule the lands with the Empire of Shovels. I like that idea. Do we have shovels?
Well, we're about to get to bronze working, so...
Yeah, you might figure this out there.
Alright, I want more influence, so go ahead and do natural right.
Why was this even a question? Let's keep it simple. We've been here. It's our place.
Oh, and so then you have this, where, as far as I can tell, the more kind of influence you have over a region, the more you have people there that you can have a claim on. And the only way I've seen this come out in the gameplay, and I could be wrong here, is you get kind of the demand against another nation that they're oppressing your people, which is another way you can kind of press them to either give you concessions or just go to war with them.
You expect greetings? Blades would be more appropriate.
Whoa.
Okay, so you don't like us at all. They are being absorbed into our sphere of influence. So yeah, they don't like what we're currently doing. Because I'm playing the culture game. I've learned from the best.
Our country's looking so good that they're like, wait a minute.
Our people want to leave. All right, how are we doing here? Okay, we are in the lead, so that's good. Oh, and then we have another sort of thing that just feels like another bell and whistle they added was osmosis events, where you can have, if you have two civilizations pressed up against each other, you start having these events where, like, if one's further ahead in science than you start getting some extra science.
That's cool. I like that. Basically, like, okay, so you being neighbors with, like, the smartest civ in town is obviously going to make you a little smarter.
Yeah.
Just because, like, you're going to be noticing that because of your proximity.
I feel like it's a way
That's
to kind
cool.
of counter the isolationist motivation of, well, no one can mess with me if I don't, like, mess with them, or I'm over here on the continent where no one can get to me, haha, but you also miss out
It's
on
just
the
like
awesome.
if you have a neighbor that's just running away with something, it gives you kind of a little bit of a leg to reach them.
Ooh, is there... Oh, there's two... Okay, so another region with two yet to be discovered strategics. This might be a good place to put a outpost. And now we have harbors. So, okay, good. This gives us science. We definitely need that. Go ahead and build one here. Give me the
Nice
wheel.
soundtrack so far, just some pleasant kind of ambient music. Not quite the, pulling a song from all the nations on the map like Civ does, which that's something I didn't find out until later, that's how it picks what music shows up, but I really like it.
Yeah, Amplitude has always been pretty good with their music. I'm always a fan of the, again, a reference, granted, that you just aren't going to get. They have there's a Void Yanni track from Endless Space 2 that I always love, because it has this kind of Gregorian chant going.
Chant through us, fun.
It's like that, but it's better because I can't sing.
So you're not a practiced chanter.
You don't know what I do in my spare time. Ooh, that's a lot of industry though. I'm good on industry. I need food, but also.
But if we just had so much industry.
Yeah, we can build the food.
It is kind of like what Egypt likes, right? We are the industrious people.
True.
Something to make our affairs more civil?
Ooh.
You fascinate.
Why is your attitude is needy? They depend on access to our resources. Well, that's good. Well, might
Our
as well
leader
keep.
sounds like a villain, which
Well,
I like.
I like that she's needy. I definitely want her to keep wanting stuff from me. So
A
sure,
proposal as fair as a summer's day. We accept.
take more stuff from my pale ass.
Your first harbor. Fishing, trade, voyages of exploration. You will see many things out of this tiny window onto a huge world.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even think about that. There's probably going to be sea travel and finding other continents and stuff, and there will be people there too.
Yeah, and so the annoying thing is that I'll give Civ points for over this game is that when you have a ship that's not really supposed to go into deep water, it avoids it. In this game,
This game does it not. Does
Well,
the AI just kind of let it roam?
it's not like it kills itself, but the problem is the ship. There's nothing stopping a ship from going off of coastal waters. It's just if it stays there an extra turn, it will sink. Just from the idea of being in deep water opens it up to hazards it wouldn't experience closer to the shore. But the problem is, if you set it to just auto explore, it will head out there for at least a turn. and then either turn back if it realizes there's nowhere to go, or kind of swap over to another continent. And the game, if you have your warnings on, which I do because I want to always know when something happens, it will always tell you that the army is at risk of drowning every single turn. So it drives me nuts, and I wish it would just not venture out into that area if it has so much trouble there.
Over this way.
It just needs to test its limits. It needs to know how far it can go. You saw Moana. That's just how it is.
If they actually sang that song every time they do it, I might be more forgiving.
Just as it's thinking how. We'll never learn unless we see just what its limits are, says the captain of the tiny canoe.
All right, we finally got to a religion. We have two choices. Do we believe in the land, or we believe in many gods? And obviously
okay, this is a fun, interesting choice.
So this is your first kind of binary choice, and then after you pick it, along with having you also get a holy site, which helps you get stability and some other stuff depending on what tenants you get. Tenants is the main way you kind of build it out, because you know how in Civ you have those 2 extra ways you can kind of build onto your religion when you get apostles. Here, pretty much every era, when you get enough followers, you get to pick a tenant. And every tenant...
I like that better.
Yeah,
that seems like a good way to do it.
Yeah, and every tenant not only gives you, well, depending on what it is, either gives your nation just a flat bonus, or adds on to what the holy site can give you whenever you build it. So for us, we don't have many attached territories, so I'm going to go ahead and go with shamanism.
Yeah, shamanism seemed like the move to me.
And now we have this thing down here, which will track the spread of our religion.
Hey.
At the moment, it seems like the Nubians, not the Zubians, that's another thing.
Zubians?
Yeah, the Nubians already made their polytheism, and because they've had such a lead on us, they've been building themselves out. So they're actually probably getting enough...
spread their religion pretty good.
Yeah, so at the moment, we have no followers of our religion. We'll get a bit of a bonus, because I think your capital automatically has like a slight head in how many people follow it. But yeah, this is the tenant screen. And it seems like... the Harappan shamanism have already claimed a tenant. And this is a lot like the Wonders, or once you claim it, no one else can get it. And then you have this as it builds up. Till you have these 4. So there are only going to be 4 religions that get all 4 tenants. Because once someone gets up here and takes it, there's just 1 fewer. So what I want to do, actually, if you aren't building anything, is go ahead and start building a stone ring, so we can start getting some extra. You build it here, that's nice. And so shared projects, the kind of final extra tier of stuff cities can build is, so this is being built and will directly affect Quincinati, but if it's like, for some reason, Quincinati has almost no industry and this will take forever to build, I can actually have Edrant come in and actually help by having it lend its production. So now it's only going to take 3 turns for that to finish. And I'll just leave it like that, because why not? And that's this. And Wonders are also shared projects. Which, hey, just in time.
Look at that.
We can now claim a Wonder. And we're Egyptian, so obviously each Wonder gives you different stuff, but it just makes sense for us to get the Pyramid of Giza, which will give us fame, and also decrease the district industry cost, which I think is worthwhile. So claim. What were you doing up here? Okay, yeah, let me go ahead and attach that. And I'm actually going to set you guys to auto-explore. How about you? Are you starting to like me yet?
Do you want to give us some of your horses and bronze?
Oh, also one other thing to keep in mind when you're thinking about your ideologies is that each independent peoples have their own set of ideologies. That the more the more in line you are with them, the more they'll like you.
Oh yeah, you know what? That makes sense.
Yeah. So at the moment we're pretty far from their globalism, individualism. Oh, geez, these are Americans. We're pretty far away from their perspective, so they don't like us a lot. So it's only really because I keep paying them money that we have any progress on this influence thing at all.
We may be different, but can't we live together?
We're rich. Gonna go ahead and research boats so we can start seeing what the rest of the world looks like.
Looking at the other continents.
Yeah, it looks like our continent pretty much stretches the width of the
We got most
map.
of the map. Or like, yeah, a big vertical slice.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of maps still undiscovered. It's just more to the left and right than up and down.
Thank you, Blackfoot Ferret, for the sub. 37 months, holy cow.
So there's no overlap whatsoever between religions? There is overlap in at least the initial choice between shamanism and polytheism. For example, if we chose polytheism, the Nubians would like us just a bit more, because at the very least our religions are of a similar nature.
At least you have multiple gods like us.
Yeah, so in fact, if I pull up the Nubians now...
Speak and make it quick.
Okay, she just loves us. Yeah, our trust is deteriorating because we follow different religions, we made our demands, and they've aired grievances against us. Oh, yeah, you're not getting that. How about call this empire's bluff? Okay, so yeah, this is what. So I know this is what happens. So if you both have demands pressed against each other, and I refused her demands, she go to war with me. Mm-hmm. So, or she has a choice. She can either back down, dropping her demands, or go to war with me. And I think things have been too peaceful right now, so I'm going to go ahead and refuse them.
The proposal is sloppy. My answer is no.
All right, she's gone to war with us. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We're not at war with the Nubians. And we have do have a lead with war support, which means we can take more losses than they can before they be forced to surrender.
Before the war quits.
Yeah, why you pull that open? I know I'm at war with them. I'm the one that started it. With the Empire thriving, a new game hailing from a foreign land beguiles the population. Everywhere we go, the distinctive game board and pieces catching your eye. Insisting on a public demonstration, you play the game under instruction in your palace court. The event has a sting in the tail. That's an interesting phrase.
I can't believe our king played Fortnite!
Oh my god, have you seen that tweet with the MLK speech?
No, don't even get me started.
That's the saddest episode of Black Mirror I've seen.
We really do live in a messed up future, guys. Anyway.
The game is reckoned to be a form of divination as well as entertainment. Gasps can be heard as the game's prophecy became clear. You are fated to lose everything. What will we do? So we can either just pay everyone off to never talk about this again, or we can overlook it, which will cost us some stability for 10 turns, or we can heat it, which will mean our science suffers. I mean, I know everyone would want to heat it, but I can't afford to have our science suck.
Yeah, the suffering of our science. How much gold is that? Like,
that's 80. We have 309.
So that's like immediately like almost a third.
Yeah, we
just
get
to
we
people
get
to shut up that we lost at a prophetic game.
It is essentially 3 turns worth of income to get back to where we are if we pay them off.
We can't claim this game is of the devil and those who believe it are its followers.
I mean, we could say that, and that would be why it's unstable for 10 turns while everyone gives up the game.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, how okay, so for -5 stability, is that like a big problem? Is that going to have us losing loyalty?
Let's see, minimize the window. So we have the max of 100%. So losing 5 would get us down to 90, and the less stable the city is, the less well it operates. But you don't really notice a problem until it gets below 30, and that's when it starts to risk revolting against you.
Okay, so I don't think we'd be falling that far, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're at 96, so -5 here would get us to 91, which is still above the 90% threshold the city requires to stay calm. Your city would drop to 75, which is fine. It's in the area where let's see. City's population is becoming agitated. Positive and negative events are equally likely to occur in this city. So a negative event is more likely to occur in this city, but it's not gonna revolt against us.
Does this put like any sort of extra jeopardy because we are at war with Nubia and they're kind of on those borders?
A negative.
Cause a problem?
I mean, a negative event in the city that we can't avoid would, that would probably harm how well the city can function. So it's here or there.
I mean, to me, it seems like honestly, our overlooking it is maybe the best route. but I'll leave it to you if you feel strongly.
Given the fact that
different
we're at
direction.
war, I think it is more important that we keep our money with us so we can use it to either buy mercenaries or buy out units. So I'm going to go ahead and overlook it.
Whatever. It's just a game, nerds. Is basically what we did.
Exactly. All right, we have 4 people available. I'm going to actually see if we can't make a full-on army. It's going to cost us all the people we have up here, but desperate times.
I would love for this game to be smart enough that if we like lose our next
Devotion
encounter in
and
war,
respect for
this
our
comes back up and it's
Good.
like the people who believed that prophecy game are really freaking out now that you're losing fights.
Maybe it does. I've always at least waited a whole era before things went south, and we found nothing. No one found this. The Nubians didn't find that.
They're busy
Oh, you know
looking at
what?
us,
Speak of the
so
devil.
exploring.
I'm going to go ahead and have this pay off immediately with the independent peoples act a lot like the lairs and sanctuaries in the early era. You have these aggressive cities that create armies and send them out, and they can raid you. But you can also, if you have enough influence with them, which we do because we're at least in this first area here, we can spend money to make them ours. And you'll find this familiar. 20 turns, they're ours, until we either pay more money or it reverts back to them. So yeah, it cost us some gold, but now we have essentially a small army over here we can use however we want. Maybe even attacking Nubia.
Levied some units,
Yeah,
perhaps.
and we also stopped them from maybe raiding our outpost here next turn. Oh, okay, yeah. So this event happens a lot. I always go to protect. It does cost a lot of gold, but the bad consequences you get if you go with these always stink. So essentially, what you're preventing is a flood, which would,
spending a ton of money to avoid a catastrophe.
yeah.
I like Pizza Cat's suggestion of why don't we just send the people who believe in this game's prophecy to fight in our wars? The problem will solve itself.
I kind of love how a bear just happened to show up right now.
Hey.
Kill it.
Looked like someone was messing with these independent people or my lair.
We certainly were, because now you're dead. Hey! Cincinnati 2 is converted to our religion.
That's right.
Let's see how our religion's doing. Alright, yep, see, we got this up. Looks like our next region is trying to shift over.
Our bovine shaman.
Okay, yeah, so it
across
looks
the
like
land.
even up here, our shamanism is spreading. It's just the
Yes.
Nubians themselves that we're having a problem with. Stop believing in your multiple gods and just believe in the power of the land.
Wouldn't it be simpler to believe in one god, the earth,
And you can see its wonders everywhere.
the thing you're walking on?
Yeah. You know how it's growing food that you eat to live? Isn't that amazing? You should worship it.
The most supportive resource in your existence, the very planet, which we all know is flat here in Egret.
Oh, the cows got to you.
We've been talking to our northern neighbors. Their advanced scientific tools claim to see the edge of the planet.
All right. We were able to get more food on Egret.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, I'm still. I thought I was so clear on it, and then now that I keep saying it, I'm like, no, that still doesn't sound right. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, 14 extra production. Do build that, please. Why can't you? You can't ransack that? Oh, you're out of movement. Got it. Move there. There. Done. Jeez. We don't have any bronze in the territory. Yeah, do organized warfare because so actually, how the battles work is initially only the armies that are interacting are the ones in the combat. But once you research this, you can get the ability to any unit that's inside that larger battlescape that also gets drawn in as reinforcements. So that's how you
Okay.
get the larger fights. All right, now we're getting stars all over the place. Ooh, but someone else is about to get to the next era. And they have 1,800 fame? What did they do?
Wow. Yeah, they can't be that famous. I haven't even heard of them.
They have over triple, almost triple our fame.
Like, is it maybe a more populated continent, so they're getting to interact and trigger more things? Maybe.
It may also be they're doing really well at their culture. Like for example, if we built
Like an early game rush on something.
Yeah, if so, we need one more district just to get 2 stars for our thing. But if we did, we get almost 200 fame. If they got all 3 of their stars for their specialty, they could probably get up there. And maybe they have a whole lot of world deeds. Let's see. No, not many other deeds have been claimed. So I'm not sure why they have so many. Nope, Babylon got their second city, and it is dangerously close to ours.
There's only so much space, boys. Please.
Well,
Tell me about yourself.
actually, you know what? How would you like to be in an alliance with us?
And now you've met the
Oh, okay.
Mycenaeans. Let's hope relations go well. Their forts are rather formidable.
So the problem is we are in an alliance, but she's not initially
Fantastic.
joining us in our
Like I wrote
wars
it
unless I
myself.
decide to
New
press this
independent
demand.
people.
Gotcha.
Let us
Be like,
savor
hey,
this
this is
moment.
part of what being in an alliance is.
But the problem is if I press it and she chooses not to,
Then
then
the
our...
alliance is null. I'm
It's
guessing.
not annulled, but she's a lot less likely to be a good partner going forward. I'm gonna go ahead and make the risk. Come join my war.
This stretches my code, but
Yeah, okay, it worked. She's at war with them, which is exactly
So,
what we
will this
needed.
independent people be an ally?
Oh,
or
and
an
they have explored a lot more of the
blessing?
map.
Ah,
Their future may not.
Yeah,
maybe
and
that's what got them so many stars.
I'm hoping. Oh, okay. So now we found out who.
Greetings, Sovereign.
Ah, it's the Harappans.
Do you too believe that there is no limit to how high humanity might soar?
Well, I mean, with that kind of fame in the first era, I can agree.
Greetings, Sovereign. Do you too believe?
Okay,
there is
yeah,
no-
no, we heard that too many times. So, one thing I will note, I hate this. I mean, independent peoples popping up is part of the game. But look, 3 of them all next to each other. It's a bit egregious just how many independent
Just,
peoples
like,
crop up.
How you can kind of snowball off of them.
Yeah, yeah, especially since if you're able to influence, let's see, who's right next to them? Who are you?
help me make
The
this
Mycenaeans. Mycenaeans. If the Mycenaeans are able to influence all of them, then if they have enough actual influence as a currency, they could just claim, and they have 3 new cities. And if they have the
Yeah,
cap
that
that
sounds
allows
pretty
for
bonkers.
it, yeah, they can snowball into controlling a whole continent. And another one's about to. Oh no, that's the lair. That's actually not a problem. That's where the bears are coming from.
Oh no, the bears have become loyal to Babylonia. They're calling it Bearbalonia.
Bear Bologna. All right. So at least we don't have to worry about anything bad happening down here. Man, Babylon has claimed how many regions? Looks like at least 4. Good for you, Babylon. All right. You raise that. You head this way. I wanna pin down just where their stuff is. Meanwhile, you still working on that.
Silver Dragon saying, I know in Endless Legend, when you customize a game, there are a lot of different levels of options. There might be a way to reduce the amount of independent peoples in this.
No. These are all the game options I get when I make the game. They're still visible here, so nothing about independent
Gotcha.
peoples.
Well, then maybe not.
It is a new game. They have a chance. They could add it in later. Like
Yeah.
Endless Legend has what, 8 expansions now?
It wasn't until way later when Civ let you decide how many city-states you want, I think, and I feel like it's way better to have fewer of them. Or wait, maybe you could do that from the start, but you couldn't decide which ones were out. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't have horses. Don't rub it in, game.
Why don't you make your horse archers that Egyptian's so famous for?
Yeah, I have to wait till I get up here before I can start buying their resources. And even then, I don't think they have the technology to exploit those resources, so I'd have to get them from the person I'm at war with. Yes, station there, jeez. Okay, 1 more star and we can get to the next era.
Do it.
Okay,
believe...
it's definitely going to be this one. Just have to build one more specialty district. Yeah, you know what? So that's going to be in 2 turns. I'm not even going to spend money on it. They don't have any extra districts at this city unless they've built it out more.
Their city's so puny.
No, okay, yeah, no, they definitely built it out. Alright, so how... So if we fight now, we'd lose. So I'm going to keep this mercenary army back until these guys are done up here. Oh, army's done. Never mind. Let's just have them help out.
The army is coming in to do some business.
Alright, now where should we build the pyramids?
Where everyone can see them.
I'd rather build them someplace where they're not gonna... I think here's good. A melody for every occasion. In the teeming, iconic city of Egypt.
That's us.
Egypt. Musicians are a celebrated part of the local culture with a long history and holy rites. They bring nobility to religious rituals, jollity to palace celebrations, smiles to the sick and ailing, courage to marching armies, and distraction to the gods. Alas, they are still too small in number, especially the good ones. And now word of their renown has reached across the empire. Lords, priests, commanders, among others, are grousing that their city deserves such artists too. The other one? We only have 2 cities. How will you satisfy them?
He's very upset.
So we can muster the street musicians and get more money at the cost of science. Or we can build an institution to music, which actually just boosts our industry.
That seems pretty good to me.
I agree. Let's build us a... what's this famous artist college? Juilliard. No, but that's not for musicians. That's for actors. Name me a famous institution known for producing musicians.
What's a musical institute? I feel like I know some because I definitely was like I was in marching band for a lot of years and briefly considered going there. Is Juilliard has a music division? I can definitely imagine that.
Is it as well known? I feel like if you think of Juilliard, you think of actors.
Acting, yeah.
Compton.
Sure, it's a different kind of institute.
You know what? I mean, surviving Compton doesn't guarantee musical inspiration, but you're definitely well studied.
Carnegie Hall. I think that's just a place where you perform, not so much where you study, right?
I definitely want the unit strength.
Detroit Rock City.
It does seem logical that people shouldn't have to do a job unless they want to.
Equisworth saying they have a degree in music. Juilliard is all right. All right, then we'll settle for Juilliard.
Very good.
Okay, so remind me later. How close are we to getting other stars? 2 more techs, 3 more units. Okay, we're about to at least get 1 more.
Let's do that.
Militarist.
Let's get that star and jump up.
So I'll hold off on that, especially since I think I'm still. Yeah, okay, everyone's getting up there, so we're getting to the point where almost everyone's gonna pick a new culture, but I think we can wait for 2 more turns. Oh, and the Harappans have gone with the Maya, so I guess we're already starting down that road. Okay, yeah, go ahead and get up here. You get up here.
You thought it was yours, but technically it was mine.
Okay, I don't know, because it's so... Oh yeah, we don't have the technology to get siege engines, so we might as well just assault now. We are stronger overall, but instant resolution can still blow up in my face. I'm going to see if I can't do this manually.
We'll do it better than the AI would.
Wait, where are our reinforcements coming in? Where are our... Oh, wait, we don't have that tech yet? Oh, we still have to wait 3 more turns for that tech. Oh no! We don't even have the reinforcements.
Dukes is right. We shouldn't have waited.
Damn it. We'll make do with what we have. Luckily, archers can shoot through mountains now.
No fear.
Yeah, obviously charging the wall.
We
is
said
not
no
gonna pay
fear, but
off.
now we're a little afraid.
Well, if we make the battle last for 3 turns, we get reinforcements. And so the only thing they have defending the city right now are citizens, which is kind of like your default militia. They're weak, but it at least means you're not going to have someone roll up to your city and immediately take it. So I'm going to actually have you guys continue to defend while the archers pick these guys off.
Charge.
Shoot through those mountains. Magic. Oh, Cincinnati is one of the best music schools? Perfect.
Hey, perfect.
And it was Cincinnati that wanted the music schools.
It was destined.
All right.
Trezul asking if we're planning on playing Among Us. I don't know if we've got any plans for it or anything, but nothing says we can't ever go back to it.
Yeah, I think the main thing is we didn't want to do it week to week because then we were definitely going to get sick of it long before it added anything new. And I know they're trying to add like roles, almost like a game of Mafia.
Ooh, okay.
Or Town of
Will this
Salem.
become werewolf or something?
Yeah, so you'll have... I know there are mods that already do it, but I do want to see how they handle it. So we'll definitely, if they do something like that, we'll definitely come back to it. But the main thing is we wanted to make sure whenever we get back to it, it's not going to be, well, now we have to do Among Us because they did something new.
It's the same thing again.
Yeah,
Plus, everybody everywhere was kind of doing it for a while, so we didn't want to do the same thing everybody was doing.
yeah. And then you always run the risk of, if the same group plays together so many times, it's like, well, we know you're the imposter. This is how it went down.
We need to space it out so people's tells can be forgotten. People can forget that I'll always be like, "What are you talking about?" when I'm clearly lying.
All right, there's that militarist star. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get another tech anytime soon. So now's when I'm gonna want a new culture. So we can stay with the Egyptians, but I'm more partial to try something else. We do seem to be at war a lot, but then again, the Nubians only have 1 city.
Yeah, there might be peace in the valley when we're alone.
Let's see here. +2 city cap if we go with the Persians.
Ooh, that's not bad.
Romans give us the arch with
All
stability.
roads lead to.
No, they give us an extra slot in our armies, and the armies are cheaper. That's not too bad.
If we're gonna be aggressive, that would be how we go. But does that look like that's working out for us? I guess.
I'm not sure. I'm more because the thing is when you pick if you go with this kind of specialty, the thing that's going to get you the most fame is claiming territory, and it seems like at this point claiming territory is going to make us we're going to have to fight a lot.
Yeah.
However, if we went with something else like say the Carthaginians or the Arsamites, we just have to worry about making money with the tiles we already have.
Which we kind of are doing good with, right?
Yeah, in fact, this one actually gives us faith and money, so we can kind of play 2 different points. I think the Asumites might be the best place to go, because they get, like, our tiles producing money produce more money, and then they have the obelisk, which is your money gets more money, which is money. And then we have the Carthaginians, which require us to have, we have to be next to water, which we are, but not all over the continent. So, you know what? I'm going to go with these guys. We're not looking any better in that outfit, though. Which civilization benefits from cows? I don't know! That's a good question. Maybe it was the ones that was already...
of them.
Hold on, what cultures were already... Oh, I can't look at them anymore? Alright. Because there are already a couple that were already taken. Or actually just one, the Maya. But they don't have cows. They didn't get cows till much later, if memory serves. Okay, back to the battle. Wait, I did end my turn. Fine.
As
Oh.
urban centers grow, both ideas and sewage are generated at a record pace.
Haha, poop joke.
Arts and sciences flourish as military tactics and mathematical equations become as coveted as physical goods. Empires struggled to control these intangibles, however, as some might trouble their stability.
That's the Nubian city now.
And now, the Axumites. Good with tangibles and intangibles. As skilled at barter as they are at battle.
Oh, and then I don't think we focused too much on this, but yeah, you do have the pan over where you can start to see a lot of your buildings start to change to the new culture.
Okay. Kind of shifting their design and stuff. That's
Yeah. So your like city center and your specialty districts don't change in appearance. So you can like be in the modern area but still have these pyramids. But all like other normal buildings do change. All right, back to
Lets you
this
keep it distinct
fight.
from some of your original stuff.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and capture your flag. There ain't nothing you can do about it.
Yes, sir.
No, our flag!
And then I'll kill you.
No, my life!
And that's your one city.
Bada boom! Is that the end of Nubia?
No, because wars in this game are somewhat more diplomatic. We essentially can push. Oh, they made another city anyway. Never mind. But the fact that we're occupying one of their, like, we can't build anything. It's just occupied. We don't own it yet.
Oh, I see.
So the thing is, when the war ends, they may get this city back, but having it pushes their, like, it's more attrition for their war support. It's going to keep going down. Or we could compose a white peace now, but no, I want you to pay me money. The war reparations are going to bankrupt you. But I'll wait 2 more turns so I can actually have reinforcements show up. Not doing that again. Go over here. Skip. Skip. Creating an institution dedicated to music in every city was an excellent idea. Performers produce refined, delicate compositions, and many pay for the privilege to hear them play. Music is a serious, artful practice, carried out by trained adepts. The strict classical musical culture is well established. We have a euphony. Euphony.
You phony.
Music is a sacred art, only be performed by those with... So obviously it seemed like the greater choice was who should perform music, trained artists or anybody. And we made trained artists. Haha, tradition. There was a sucker punch for tradition.
Whoops. Well, I mean, obviously. Who do you want to listen to? The people with training. Duh.
5 makers' quarters. It seems that someone took the phrase, building your future, a bit too literally.
Hello. What are you trying to do here, Nubians? You're gonna fight me. Wait 1 more turn. I need the reinforcement tech first. All right, where's a good place to get some gold? All right, 12 gold. I'll do that. How about up here? Oh, you're not helping with anything? All right, help with the pyramids first. 14 gold. Oh, hey, we have an iron deposit. That's good. We'll need that. See, and that's when trying to be perspective about the strategics pays off.
Gotta have those plan ahead moments.
All right. I'm just gonna make you regret fighting me here. You come to the wrong neighborhood. Just in time.
Let's go.
Oh, you didn't come here looking for a fight? Well, you got one!
Come on, charge and attack me. Oh, and you can see even the walls of the city are part of the battlefield, even if they can't capture it this turn. Alright. Ouchies. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and have our units deploy here. Finish your turn already. Give me warriors here.
Follow me.
Take that, archers.
Check out our cool horse. Card, you can't stop this.
That's what you get for trying to shoot at range. More archers. Oh, spearmen. Sorry, my bad. Now, see, the problem is I can only have my reinforcements spawn from these 2 hexes, so the fact that these guys are standing here means no one else can spawn in.
Oh, okay.
So I'm actually going to have them fall back. But I don't want the archers to show up and immediately get ganked, so...
Attack! Let's get out!
You fall back, because I don't want you to die. Even if you are just hired help. Ah, they made the archers fall back to the hills.
Scared him.
So I may have already said this, but I do like how much terrain kind of features in these smaller battles.
That is cool. This feel like I like this in that it kind of gives me like almost a Fire Emblem vibe when we're doing fights, like where it's just kind of a more tactical. Let's spread out and really use this map, which I appreciate for sure.
Let's fight!
That, and I like all the different voice cues for the units.
Charge!
Stop hiding in there.
Those are our walls we took from you.
Yeah, no, those aren't your walls anymore. They're our walls. There are walls up here.
Attack!
Yeah, the chariots are the bomb unless they're fighting spearmen, and then they die very easily. There we go. Takes care of that problem. I'm just gonna have you guys hide, because again, I don't want... Oh, okay. Be that way then. Who's still waiting for my orders? I told you, if you're not gonna move anywhere, just stay there. Same for you.
Let's go! For your family!
Our beings have more legs than yours, thus you are inferior.
You ain't got the wheel. We have the wheel. Look what we do with the wheel. Alright, everyone else fall back. Don't want anyone else dying just because they're getting sniped by archers. Oh, really? Yeah, well, it kind of stinks that they kept this massive army held up for a whole turn, but whatever. Meanwhile, you still want to fight me?
Why do you come here to waste my time?
Okay, then.
Whoa.
Jeez. So mean. Sure.
Ooh, Jupiter's got a good point. That chariot would be even more deadly if it was pulled by cows instead of horses.
Ah, well. I guess they were too thankful for us saving their lives. Alright, finish them off. A bit too costly, but not terrible. Just have the units heal while we wait. I don't like that these 3 units get to stalk about, but I don't think they can do us much harm. It would be unfortunate if they fought us down here. Animal magic. There you go. There's your magic.
Yes.
As the harvest season draws close, the common folk are worried. With many farms scattered across the empire last year, an infestation of rodents, largely rats and mice, plundered granaries. However, rumors have it that one enterprising village mitigated the problem by using cats. But you also know that sailors use a new kind of predator named a ferret. Which of them will you employ officially?
Oh, man. Well, I mean, everyone knows Egyptians and cats kind of went together a lot. But I like the idea of us going the other route.
It is worth noting that this is mainly an ideology choice. If we choose this, we stay in the middle bracket that gives us 10 stability. Or if we go with ferrets, it'll push us more towards progress, which shifts our 10 stability to +5, and then +5% science.
Ooh. I mean, that does seem pretty good. We are looking to up our science gain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel like ferrets is the call here.
All right. No longer will the Egyptians worship cats, they shall worship ferrets. Though I guess, you know, the Egyptians were polytheists, so we're already deviated from that course.
Yeah, we're already counterculture Egypt.
We're the Egypt before it was cool. But we're cooler now. No questions.
You can't deny it. Look at our neat ferrets.
Alright, how many turns is it going to take you guys to get back to full strength? Because I would like to pretty much immediately besiege Napata. Napita? Napata.
Napata.
And we can claim a new wonder.
The Pyramids of Giza, the original construction yardstick by which all other projects will be measured.
So it looks like the other 3 were gobbled up in the ancient era, but we now have 4 new ones. None of them specifically Egyptian. So we're not so limited in our choice. But actually, I just noticed it's 8 o'clock. So how much... Well, I guess first impressions, Grant. How do you feel about the game so far?
This seems interesting. Like, it definitely feels like, which admittedly, I think this is just one of those games that like 2 hours is not going to be enough to get a full idea of everything it's trying to do. But I like this direction. This is already like kind of immediately more appealing to me than Stellaris was. Like, I feel like I am immediately understanding more of it. There are some things, like I said, about the UI that I think kind of makes it intimidating or like kind of rough at first glance, but I think it's doing a lot of cool stuff. So I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess.
All right. So maybe this is something we return to for at least one more week. Maybe
I wouldn't say no to that. I'd like to see more of what it does.
All right. Now, bigger question. Would you want to immediately return to this game or perhaps see a game that has progressed further along?
You know, I don't think I would be against seeing something with a little bit more progress.
Okay. So I'll
Maybe
leave...
it does not need to be this exact file or something, or, you know, if you want to put a little bit more time into it and get further ahead so we can just see how it progresses.
It looks like the Nubians decided to just stab us right in the back.
Nice.
So while I continue to talk, I'll try and fight this. So my immediate thought is that I could pretty much save this turn, and then also keep my Korean game going a bit longer, and that'll let you see either, you know, right where we are now, or see a game that has at least gotten into the last 2 eras of a game session, probably like turn 200-ish.
Yeah, I'd be curious about something like that.
Okay. Let's see, what do I want here? I'm thinking... I'd like to have something protect the way up to the archers.
Off we go.
But also I don't want to leave the city completely undefended. We'll do that. That's probably not the best deployment, but I'll try that. Well, there goes those guys. Well, that's already going poorly. Go ahead and bring in these guys.
We still have the walls.
Yeah, have the
And
chair.
the cart.
You left your archers undefended, fools!
Honestly, I was expecting more damage than that.
They were at full health.
For your family.
But I can also attack them from the rear. Twice.
Let's get 'em!
Still alive, huh? Can I have archers finish off archers, maybe?
No mercy.
There we go.
Hey.
Well, the problem is these archers might die.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe should we have moved the weaker archers back and let the full health ones shoot there?
Well, actually, I'm not entirely sure they can make that climb. So if I move these guys
Off we
here,
go.
they may be defended for at least another turn. Can I not deploy these guys? Apparently not.
Uh-oh.
Why not? Is it because No, I was able to deploy all my units last time. Why is this one not? Okay, then. I guess they don't want to come out. And the game isn't ending the turn, so what the hell? Also,
Have
another
we-
point against this game, kind of still buggy.
A little horse and buggy, if you will.
In fact, really? Are you not going to let me even end the round? Fine, automatic battle.
Right.
Do something.
There is nothing to be done.
I'm letting you have full control, computer.
Are we ending on a weird soft lock?
I think we are. Well, so the good news is I can at least click out of this battle. Let's see. Okay. Whoa, okay, battle's going again.
The battle is automatically transpired. You stepped away for a moment.
All together.
Wow, okay, now that was actually surprising. I expected a bit more damage there.
For your family.
Still alive?
Charge! Come on! Come over here. Charge!
Slowly, bit by bit, we will wear them down.
All together.
For Egyptian, Granttian, Grant loyalty and glory to the great Egypt.
Take that, Persia. Alright. So I'll go ahead and save this here.
This seems fascinating, though. Like I'm, even if it's a little odd, maybe, and like maybe a little buggy and needs a bit of, you know, another pass on some stuff and maybe some added stuff and like DLC stuff. I'm sure will eventually come. This seems interesting and a really cool base at the very least.
Oh, and as you can see, it preserves your
Hey.
avatar from the latest state it was in. So this guy's going to be staring at us for the rest of the wrap-up.
Yes. I feel like he's just looking at something just off the corner of the screen there that's more interesting than us.
What do you think it is?
The conquest of his fallen foes. He just sees their despair before him, and he's just kind of like, yes, I like it.
Oh, he's sitting there waiting for the army to finish fighting. It's like, I gave you orders 3 days ago. Wrap
I
it
can't
up.
wait to report back from my great chariot archers, of which we are famous.
Haven't built one of them, but I know they're coming.
I believe in them. I heard through the grapevine in that one prophetic game that someday I'd have them. Oh yeah, he's looking at cows, obviously, the cows that we burned.
Of course. The one sacred field of the non-heretic cattle.
Those ones weren't conspiring against me, no.
They got to watch the others burn.
I trusted those. But
Well-
yeah, Quinn, thank you for showing this to me. I liked it.
Thanks for sticking around. I'm glad I was able to find something more alluring than Stellaris. I know that was a bit of a slog.
Stellaris was cool. It just kind of was a little long in the tooth, and I felt like there were a couple times where it felt like progress was eluding us.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I will be back tomorrow night. I know I wasn't able to do the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles last night. That was a long day, but I will be picking up, hopefully finishing episode 3 tomorrow night. Depends on how long in the tooth that runs. But then I don't think we'll be back until Monday. So until Friday, guys. Oh, hold on. I always have to rate somebody. I forget who. I think Nick is still... Nick's doing Psychonauts 2, so I think I'll send you guys over to him.
Check out that new Psychonauts game.
6-hour stream? I don't know. Okay, let me just say, for the tutorial episode, I just wanted to get to the end. And I was having fun with it, but it's really hard doing so many voices for 6 hours. And I'm not a voice actor, as Welcome to Tiny Train World, you know specifically I'm not.
But see, you're building your instrument, you're training, you're becoming one by doing this.
Well, we'll see if I get any better tomorrow, but